Good morning. Welcome into Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat headquarters. DB, can you hear me at all?
No.
Okay.
Can you hear me? I hope not.
Not through the headset. Oh, nope, still nothing. The internet at the bar doesn't work, so that's. I don't know that this is. Oh yeah, that's not plugged in at all. That would be an issue. You big karma guy, DB?
Zoe asked me what it meant at the dinner table the other day.
Check. Yep, still nothing. I still don't have DB. Oh yeah, that'll do it.
This wasn't even plugged in. What are we doing?
That feels like a producer problem, not a Ravi problem. I'm just going to be honest. There he is.
I'm just going to go ahead and tell you. Watching. Okay. Okay. Hey, listen. So this is interesting. Because I go back and forth about wanting to like Action Jackson.
I think we're out.
But he's out. But do you know why, though? It's not because he's weird and closet racist. It's because he can't function under pressure. He's very mean-spirited under duress. If you can't be cool when it's hot, I don't know if we can be boys. That's called the egg theory. Whatever is in you when you get squeezed, young Action Jackson, is who you are, and that is not a very nice person.
What about me, where I just start hot, stay hot?
Your boy, little Afro Mini over here, dropped Richard on me in the first 6 minutes of being here.
Well,
whoa.
Hey, what's up?
Who's the voice from the heavens?
Oh, hey, Sasha,
Me.
what's going on?
I
have no eyebrows. Don't judge me.
God, is that you?
On my way here, I literally looked right before I walked out of the house. I'm like, there's a lesson here. I don't know what it is, but it's been constant stress for 7 days in a row.
Hey, do you know what's funny, though?
Calm down, because if I walk in there and I'm a ball of stress, it's just going to not be good for Austin here, who was here. And I was like, hey, bro, I'm going to need you to go upstairs and make sure that everything's set, because the internet is a terrible place.
I just want everybody to take note.
Yeah.
So I'm high-fiving Austin, because thank you.
Good job.
Rico,
Oh, no, he's the last.
Thanks, guys.
Not
and you
AJ.
guys for pivoting.
You're okay. Oh, I was just going to. That's fine. But I just want people to know.
Yeah.
The only cool. Actually, Sasha was a lot more cool than I thought. But I rock with her. We've been together forever. You're just going to be you. But I just want everybody to know, who's the one that's in the best mood under the most stress?
Me.
That would be. No.
100% me.
No. That would be me.
DB's in a great mood this morning. I love
not
it.
even my mood. It's like sometimes you just have to function under, like, this is less than ideal. And who doesn't get to do 3 U-turns in 2 days?
Somebody who doesn't use GPS. I don't know.
I need direction. Hey, we're going to the sports bar.
Specifically, I'm saying somebody else who doesn't use GPS might do that many U-turns.
She said I have no eyebrows. Who says that? Can I knock on the window? I feel like I'm in jail. Can I have a new one of these? You guys have kicked enough people out. We have to swap. Thank you.
That seems excessive. Seems like something you didn't really
I
have
am
to say.
very disappointed in my friend. He was so mean.
He has
to
no
me.
idea what you're saying. He can't hear you at all.
Like, we spent so much time together.
I know.
And he just flamed the whole thing. He looked at Rico. He said, what are you doing in here? Jeez, Mr. Protective. Suave was just trying to help out.
Hey, at least we remembered somebody's birthday yesterday.
Oh, I didn't know.
You were abhorrently mean to him yesterday, too, was the worst part. It just kept getting worse.
Okay, so in defense of DB here.
Thank you.
Not knowing and forgetting are different things.
Not when Austin wants to poke fun.
Yeah. What did I do? Say it. Say it directly. Exactly what happened.
You walked in and you looked at my man. And I was actually nice to Suave, although I did put my foot right next to his when he walked in the door downstairs. And I go, let's measure. And he goes,
wait, you said like foot, right?
Yeah, he
Okay,
goes,
good.
he goes, I'm gonna take this foot And I had to put it right here. And I go, that's awful violent this morning, Suave. But we were fine, right? We told a few jokes.
Yeah, it's everything. Everything's great.
Austin comes in. He killed me. He doesn't want me talking anymore. He just killed my bike.
No, I hear you. I got you.
No, we're trying to adjust stuff here. We got it. Yeah.
So Rico, what are you doing here? And I was like, oh, he clearly likes running the show on his own. He wants to be the man.
No, because Rico was.
I can't hear you. At all.
You can't hear me?
No.
No. I can hear me.
Hold on.
No, something happened where they cut the whole thing down. This is anarchy. He's like, you're not even plugged in. Come on, guys. This isn't wireless.
You're plugged in now because I can still hear you.
Yeah, I can't hear you at all.
That might be better for our relationship.
No, we have to have a show at some point. I don't know what this is, but oh wow, there you go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, there we go. Yeah, I'm good. I'm
very
still
nice. It's very nice.
So I think if I'm gonna give Austin the most gracious interpretation here, he, I believe, thought Rico was working from home today.
Oh,
so I think that's why he asked why.
But he talked to him so. Is that just how Action Jackson is under duress?
No, I'm just mad at Rico because I want him to take some time, with his family and spend time with them. Unlike,
is that really what it is?
Yes, I hate spending time with you guys every day, but here we are.
Just so
I'm trying to get other people away.
He almost had me. Did you see? I was like, oh, but no.
Oh, kumbaya. Nope.
Back.
DB, real conversation I had yesterday with Dr. Fiance. I said, oh, I was talking to a coach, 8-man coach yesterday. I need to text DB about this. And she goes, don't. And I was like, okay, then I won't.
Wow, just rolling.
Yeah, Fiance is out on both of us, I think.
Why?
Not true.
Why? I'm going to talk to him. Why wouldn't you text me that?
Well, I don't know.
I like keep walking
secrets
off the camera. you just keep disappearing.
Our poor stream people. Hey, by the way, that's another thing I need to do, DB. Would you like a stream link?
I would love a stream link.
Oh my God.
Sure. But
you guys are so needy.
That's so true.
Here's the thing. I'm gonna say this in all sincerity. This is one thing I think Dr. Fiance should figure out.
What's that?
A wedding venue for one.
No.
I don't really like where this is going.
That just gave me pause because it came across as though, well, you have the information, you can be good at your job, don't help him out. I could be reading into that.
No. That's not what it was. It was more like she just didn't want me to get into a prolonged conversation with you at like 8:30 at night. That's what it was.
Because a diatribe was coming.
Oh yeah. No, that makes sense. Knowing Fiance a little bit over here, she does basically sleep all the time. So by
was it Why Not or St. Mary's?
It was actually Sandy Creek.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, I talked. It's my guys.
Yeah, Coody's a good dude.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. That they kind of surprised some people too. Remember, this wasn't supposed to be the year. They had lost so much.
Yeah, they did.
Nobody told them that. Though.
They got everybody back.
Yeah, no.
Well, everybody in new uniforms back is what it is.
I was gonna say. Yeah,
we like a new uniform.
Do we?
I do. I like Navy's new uniforms.
So we're back on the Navy thing?
I love the Army-Navy game uniforms.
So this used to drive one of the other producers crazy when he was in here and we would come in here because there's never any comfy chairs. So, Suave, I don't do sign language, but
I could tell.
We may have had an incident earlier.
Oh, that's cute. That's not the right finger, but sure. Do it on screen.
Let's do it.
Do it.
Do it for the vine. Do it.
Do the roar.
That's one of my favorite parts of that movie.
I love you, Daddy.
Is that the Robinsons?
No, it's Fiona.
Shrek 3?
Oh. Yeah, Suave. Can you do me a solid? Because I move, this may not be a great angle. You may want to square it to give me a little wiggle room.
Yeah, someone tells me Ravi's not moving.
Yeah, Ravi is not moving.
It's like those Easter Island statues.
He looks pretty solid in his...
You know what I mean?
I was standing earlier. I might stand up again. I don't love these chairs, so I'll probably be a little bit more mobile than I normally am. Just for what that's worth.
Yeah, if you want to, AJ, send me a link. That's cool. So I at least know where I am in proximity.
I just emailed it to you.
To the camera. But anyway, I suppose we should say good morning. You want to set the lineup quick?
Yeah, I have no idea who's on the show. I'm just kidding.
No, so, you know what's funny?
What's up?
That they're so close to us. I feel like we will just be getting slapped all over the place.
Why are we getting slapped? What I do?
Because they're always in cahoots.
Oh, yeah.
They're technically in control. And they get mad when we don't do what we're supposed to do.
Brian Christopherson coming up at 8.
Can't wait to talk to him. I hope he's on.
Yeah, is there any news going on right now? I think there's some news that just happened this morning.
Low. It's dropping fast. Wow.
If you haven't heard, apparently Dayton Raiola is not coming to Nebraska.
Yeah.
Who knew? Maybe he actually decided he wanted to play football somewhere. No offense to Dayton.
And they literally just left Buford.
Yeah, the path to playing time did not look promising here.
Yeah.
Andy Kendeigh from KETV coming up at 8:30. Mitch Sherman at 9. And, this should be fun. Jessica Coody at 9:30. What could go wrong talking to Jess on a day like today?
Thank you, sweet baby Jesus. Please be in a good mood. Well, so we may have caught a break.
Oh, why is that?
Well, will we be able to talk to Shane? Because she can't talk to Shane if Shane.
Oh, yeah, she can't talk to Shane at all.
And that's her boo.
That's a huge break. That's a big win for us.
Bye, Shane. Bye, Shane.
She can say, maybe he could hear it over the stream, like all of our listeners. Thanks for hanging in there on the late start, guys.
Hey, how about whoever the people are that do the work at the location in the sports bar?
Oh, yeah.
I think they thought I was doing cookies, guys.
Just in the parking lot.
I did 2 quickies.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Congrats, dude. That's impressive. Good for you.
All right.
Was this after your measuring contest with Rico, or was this before?
Okay. We're gonna have to buckle up.
Them having
Oh, the keys are going down. Watch out.
We're going.
Oh no, he dropped his keys.
Them having mics might be a problem.
I'm gonna take your little narrow behind to the gym. That's what's gonna happen. We're gonna hit the speed bag.
I would love that.
I'm gonna put some headgear on you if it fits over that whatever that monstrosity you got going.
I would love that.
You
talking about big heads is hilarious.
Mine's ob shaped. Yours is just swollen.
Say ob or did you say ob? Yeah, is that an
As
ob?
in oblong.
Object.
Failure.
That's abject, but okay.
Remember,
you doing slam poetry right now? What's going on?
That would fit in with your culture.
Here's the deal. Ultimately, I'm where I want to be. You're trying to get to where you need to be. I'd act better.
What is he trying to say? I don't know. I wish you didn't speak in riddles all the time. Seriously. Do I need to answer your riddle to cross the bridge?
I don't know. Maybe. Why did the chicken cross the road?
Does that make you the troll?
That makes him the troll.
Oh, okay.
We're going to be doing our own drops over here, by the way.
I mean, maybe.
I was gonna say they're just gonna vocal drop us. They're not. They don't have any buttons to push.
I hope you guys know what you're doing.
Back in the day,
I'm gonna tell you these.
I'm gonna keep it a buck. We ask.
When you say it to yourself, it makes it sound like you're saying we are.
Makes it sound worse.
Yeah, it doesn't help when it's you saying it. Yeah, so that's the news this morning. We got Dayton Raiola no longer coming to Nebraska 2 weeks before signing day. I don't know. I think people are freaking out about it a little bit on the internet. Seems like.
I don't know. I think it's one of those deals where we like panic. We like to panic. I think if he doesn't decommit and we talk about what we're going to do next year, he's probably more of the problem than he is the solution. But because he decommits, it's all of a sudden.
Well, what does that mean for Dylan?
Yeah, we're going. So I mean, a lot of us have talked about the potentials for stacking quarterbacks and what it was going to look like anyway.
Yeah.
But it is one less head in the fray, which is interesting too, because like I just said, they just came from Buford. Literally,
Coach Rule.
Yeah, was just in Buford.
I wonder if
this was Friday.
I wonder if that was part of the conversation.
Maybe. Yeah,
maybe they think they owed it to him.
Good. That's a good point.
To have it.
I don't know.
I don't either.
To be honest, because we have not talked about that.
The way I look at the way Nebraska's quarterback room stacks up, and I kind of, obviously TJ Lateef is a talented guy,
mm-hmm.
and if they want to keep TJ around to theoretically succeed Dylan, and then you've got Trey Taylor coming in right after that to succeed TJ Lateef, where does that leave Dayton Raiola?
Yeah,
hoping for an injury, basically, right? Yeah. And so if you're Dayton, you go, hey, yeah, that's probably not how I want to play out my first couple years of my college career. Yeah, it makes a ton of sense to decommit. Like I don't this makes more sense to me than him committing, like signing at Nebraska.
No, I agree.
You know what I mean?
I think the optics, though, and what's optics? That's the word we use when we don't have enough information. The optics aren't great.
Sure, yeah, because the last name,
right? But and it's going to lead to more questions.
Sure,
at least on the outside. So this will be another one of those interesting things. Maybe Vegas knew this.
Oh, maybe that's where the 9.5 came from.
Like, uh-oh, as the world turns.
That number still doesn't make any sense.
No, I'm with you.
Like it's. I mean, I know you always give me a hard time for taking the free money. I'm taking my free money.
No,
on
it's
that
okay.
one.
I take it this time too.
I'm taking my free money on that one. Well, Captain, if Dylan's next, I mean, you've been harping for TJ the whole time. So what do you care? What do you care if Dylan's next? That's your dream come true, right?
Austin, where'd you send the link?
To your email.
Which email? Hurrdat or Gmail?
Probably Hurrdat. It's the one you send to the show rundowns that he doesn't look at.
He looks at them. We just don't follow him.
Oh, respect.
He does because he tells me what's on. He's like,
is there a better place to send it to, Damon?
Pardon?
Is there a better place to send it to?
No, that's fine.
Would carrier pigeon work better?
Ooh.
I
thought that was actually helpful. I didn't think that was snarky.
Those don't. I think it's hard to tell sometimes. Just tone of voice.
That's totally fair.
Carrier pigeons actually don't work like that.
They can't deliver links.
Well, that, but also you have to they can only fly to one place. They don't like have a map of the city in their brain.
It says you.
No, like that's how.
Have you been inside a carrier pigeon's mind?
Frequently. No, you would take them to a place and then you would have them fly back to your residence with a message if you were away. That's how carrier pigeons
Would you
work.
prefer ravens?
I mean, I know you're a big Game of Thrones guy right now.
Yes.
Are you done yet?
Yeah, I've been done.
Oh, okay. You never watched Game of Thrones, did you?
No, that's actually something I want to get into though. I feel like I'm too far behind because I don't, I'd have the whole drawing on the board and the connecting of the families and
I don't think it's.
I'd have to study, then watch and study.
I don't think it's as complicated as some people made it out to be.
I don't know. Oh, Kobe's back. Hey, Kobe, I told the guys I missed you yesterday. Where were you? He doesn't have to tell me. He's probably in an adult somewhere, but that's fine.
Yes, Kobe. I don't imagine they're going to circle back on any quarterbacks in this class. I wouldn't think. I mean,
I know the one that they're thinking because that was the great debate, right? And then they see him like throw for 725,000 yards against us, and it's like, that guy's pretty good.
I think it was only like 4 and change.
The quarterback situation though is
it's pretty set.
It's in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I mean I don't imagine unless they're looking for a backup in the portal. I don't imagine they're adding another quarterback in this class.
Yeah.
Like that just doesn't. Like I said, you got Dylan, you got TJ, you got Trey. Those are your starters for the next 8 years, basically. My math's right.
Yeah.
Like you don't need more starters.
I think the thing that you got to remind yourself, whether you talk about, you can go back to Coach Rule's delivery about NIL and what they're able to do and the flexibility and can keep or go get. He's just not going to be held hostage. And I'd like to reiterate that, right? You're not going to sell your soul at all to compromise whatever. So I think you set the parameters for what's going to happen, and then who falls in line just falls in line going forward.
I think that was the big thing people missed about the conversation about the money last time Rule talked about it, right? Was just because the money's there doesn't mean they're A, going to overpay for people,
yeah.
B, that they're going to get held hostage by people that they don't think are worth whatever they're asking for, and C, that they're going to spend recklessly. Like none of those things are going to happen, even though there's even like, again, not to get biblical on you here, but like, he who is responsible with a little will be responsible with a lot. Like that is, I wouldn't surprise me if that's very forefront of Matt Rule's brain right now.
It will be interesting to watch. If not, fun isn't the word, but I like managing and moving of the puzzle pieces.
Yeah,
and making the dollars make sense too. So that'll be pretty good.
Yeah, I'm like I said, we'll see what the fallout is from Dayton, but like I said, I think this makes way more sense than him signing with Nebraska in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like I just do. Regardless of anyone, like I also kind of love how like people in the families make their own decisions, right? Like it's not
for the most part.
Well, it's not like, well, if Donnie goes, then Dylan goes, and then if Dayton goes, then Dylan and Donnie. Like they're all like They're all
and
different
I also think you I think you operate under.
I have a little bit more information than other people do, but I also think it is. I mean, if Donnie being here wasn't enough initially for Dylan to commit, then obviously there's other factors involved, right? Like Donnie was on staff while Dylan was committed to Georgia,
right?
Right. So obviously that was not the be all end all for him in his recruitment. I don't know why it would be for his little brother or for his uncle to be the be all end all on what he decides to do next year.
Right.
Right. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. So that I just think that's something that people forget a little bit.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Just for both of you, probably more DB, just because of how you interact with players and such. How much of recruitment, especially today, changes because of how public it is, and Nebraska's targeting this person, and this person is a highly talented recruit, and where your current roster is? When guys are on the team and they see they're going after a younger player, so there's someone like Latif, who's a young quarterback, and sees, okay, there's another young quarterback that's coming up that's highly rated and regarded. How does that, is it like double recruitment where you have to talk with the player that's already on your roster, and then also you want to get talented guys on your roster too, but maintain, like, how do you keep that balance and kind of keep cooler heads in the building?
I think that's a good question. I think it's twofold. Number one, it depends on the position or the player, right? Because it's always going to boil down to security and their insecurities versus how much you have to talk to them. Number two is it's the culture. Like, what's the culture say? If the culture's like, hey, it's an understanding that we're going to keep recruiting, right? You can be really, really good. We're going to keep recruiting. You continue to do you. Don't worry about what hasn't happened yet. That's a lot of what I came from, right? I mean, they were going to get the top 2 or 3 or 1 back coming out of the country. Every year they were going to target that guy. And it didn't matter. I mean, sometimes you could be playing well, sometimes you could not. And they're still stockpiling guys. Now, some positions didn't work, right? We got real stagnant at the quarterback spot when T. Fraze was there because nobody wanted to come. So I think the culture has to be one. And I want to go back to that question. I wonder now, when you phrase it like that, is that why we talk about go back and find the audio, you guys, of Coach Rule's press conference talking about quarterback play, Glenn Thomas developing. If you want to be a good quarterback here, come here. Like, was that not it? Maybe it wasn't about TJ.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just about getting quarterbacks in general, or, hey, we're pretty good here too.
Yeah.
So I wonder.
I thought he was talking to TJ. I mean, personally, I thought he was talking to TJ.
Maybe not. Maybe he was talking to Dylan and Dayton.
Maybe he was talking to Trey.
I have to go. Just AJ asking me that question. LMA captain, trust me, you don't know. Like, you can laugh out loud as an adult all you want. That ain't. I wouldn't. I'm not so sure you're right. LMAO. Too old for that, Cappy. Knock it off. I don't know now, because you don't get into. Here's the reason.
Okay.
Why the LMAO is actually pretty funny. You don't bring up Glenn Thomas without people on the inside knowing what Glenn Thomas does. He is not a guy that's talked about
externally.
Yeah.
So your point is TJ would already know what Glenn Thomas does.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Whereas people from the outside maybe don't understand
as
Glenn versus Dana.
As would Dylan.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. So if the questions were posed internally, well, who's coaching this guy?
Well, it's Glenn Thomas. And Dana kind of brought it up yesterday too.
And to further Austin's question, I think it also depends on the position. If you play 5 at a time versus playing 2 at a time versus playing 1 at a time, I don't know if I feel as threatened.
Yeah.
You know, if
that makes sense.
If we're talking about a top tier tackle, I'm probably not as insecure as I normally would be as a tackle that's already playing, because I understand the degree of difficulty of that position.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm a top flight wideout and I'm a redshirt freshman wideout, my radar may ping a little bit. So I think it starts with the culture, though. Is it widely known that we're going to always be recruiting? If it is, then you just embrace what comes with the competition, and you try to recruit competitive guys.
Maybe I'm not thinking about this the right way, but if I did
kicker, Austin, to your point, it'd probably bug me.
Right. Well, I was just thinking of it in the sense that, you hear this if a kid decommits or, if someone leaves in the transfer portal, there are programs in the country that have won multiple national titles or are usual regular contenders. They have to turn over that roster every year, right? They're always getting super high talented recruiting classes and they're refreshing their rosters constantly. Mm-hmm. So why is the attitude, if somebody decommits from Nebraska or if somebody leaves Nebraska, that Nebraska can't just replace that with great talent? We have to always keep the people that we have. And I think maybe, again, and I know you've talked about it, it's somewhat the Nebraska mentality comparative to like how we act in the state comparative to how other fan bases will react with their colleges and such. But I don't know. I just found that interesting because it just feels more personal. And when you take it to the side of the kid that's in the locker room already and seeing, how does that make me feel, knowing that they're either it comes across as you're looking for my replacement, but that's just how college football works, right? So it's kind of hard to be that cyclical when you're trying to be that personal as well, as Rule builds those relationships.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair too. And not to, as I'm looking at this couch, not to go all black couchy, but given the time, this is real time, my thoughts. Mm-hmm. So I have to go back and maybe clean it up, some of the details, but given what I know about the relationships and the situations and them just being down at Buford, I pit it against the conversations that Coach Rule had about NIL and getting guys and retaining guys. And then I double down on who's coaching the actual quarterbacks and the timing. Mm-hmm. I think it's all connected. Yeah, I mean, it's clearly all connected because the timing is strange.
I think the timing is strange when you think about it in terms of signing day. Kobe was kind of talking about this.
It's not so much here. Just let me finish this thought. So it's not so much the signing day thing. Mm-hmm. You just were there. You were just there Friday.
Yeah.
Today is Wednesday. Mm-hmm. You dropped this on Tuesday, roughly ish. Mm-hmm. So in a 4-day window of a guy that you've recruited for 2 years, we think something all of the sudden happened.
So go ahead.
And then you pit it against, hey, if you want to be a good quarterback, why make the sales pitch? I want the audio. If you guys, not Rico, but Austin, if you could find I want to go back and listen again about, hey, even if you're a quarterback that wants to come here, mm-hmm. you can get developed.
Right.
Do you know what day he said that?
Maybe the Monday during the bye week.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah, I think that's right.
Maybe the Monday during the bye week.
Because that's about the only time we would have heard from. I mean, that's the only time we heard from during the bye week, right? And I think it was that recently.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about what's changed, right?
I want to hear that clip in its entirety. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, if we're talking about like variables that have changed, right? You're mm-hmm. recruiting a kid for X amount of time. The only, in my mind, variable that has changed is that Dayton has seen how much TJ has already developed.
I think we're missing the point.
Okay.
This is just, I swear to goodness, this is real time. I think Dayton is looking at Dylan. I don't think Dayton is remotely thinking about TJ.
What do you think he's looking at for Dylan?
I think he's looking at like what comes with being at the school, what the last couple of years have looked like. Mm-hmm. There's the interactions of having an uncle and my dad there.
Sure.
Those family dynamics, there's a lot because it's not always rainbows and butterflies.
Sure, yeah.
And he's impressionable, so he may just decide,
maybe that's not for me.
It's not for me.
So the reason I brought up, so I agree with you. I do think there is one major difference.
And one thing I think you do know,
yeah,
you have to separate Donnie from Dom.
100%. Yeah, I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
You have to separate uncle and dad.
That's why
they're clearly different.
That's why I brought up the decision-making dynamics with the last name.
Yeah.
Like Donnie's decision doesn't have anything to do with Dom's decision. Nothing to do, but they're not as linearly connected as we kind of want it to seem.
I'm with you.
Right. So I agree with you on that point. Maybe he sees, hey, the dynamics here maybe are a little bit harder than they would be somewhere else. We talk about those with in-state kids a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some kids aren't really built for wanting to have to deal with the in-state of being a highly touted recruit and staying in Nebraska, right? That's not for everybody. Maybe Dayton is sitting here and going, hey, maybe I don't want to deal with some of the things that comes with being a Raiola in Nebraska, right? Like maybe that's not what he wants. The other thing that I do think is interesting, and I'd be curious to see how he feels about this, because you'd have to give him some true serum because I don't know that it's something he would just volunteer. But obviously the recruiting profile of Dylan and Dayton are very different. Dylan came in as top 1 or 2 quarterbacks in the country. Dayton, more of a developmental prospect, right? I wonder if he is looking at sort of the savior mentality that was put on Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's part of the thing he doesn't want to deal with, or if he's self-aware enough to know that he's probably a couple years away, at least from playing in his developmental process. Like, I think that's part of it too, because Dylan and Dayton were going to have very different experiences here at Nebraska because of that, I think. But maybe he's not able to separate what he sees Dylan kind of dealing with versus what his reality would likely be. Because I don't know that any Nebraska fan is looking at Dayton and I mean, personally, I can only speak for myself. I don't know anybody that I've talked to that expected Dayton to play basically ever at Nebraska. But I don't know if he's got that level of, like, I don't know if he's got that in his head also.
Mm-hmm.
Because that would dramatically change Dayton versus Dylan's. And my only frame of reference for this is, and this is a strange one, Eric Crouch's little brother was at Millard North my freshman year. No one expected from his little brother what they expected from Eric, right? Like, there was a whole different set of circumstances around those two people, despite sharing the last name.
Mm-hmm.
That's the closest thing I can think of that is like this, where it's like, hey, I mean, the Corvers had it at Creighton. That was a big thing. You know, one of them ended up going to Drake, maybe because he didn't want to have to deal with the Corver of it all. Or maybe it was just a better fit. I don't know. But
the funny thing is, as I'm just replaying the whole, whether I'm talking to, so obviously now this brings in all the other conversations I've ever had, right? Mm-hmm. And I think the real disconnect, and I would say things about Holgerson and like no pressure, making Dylan be who we think he is as a 5-star, and
mm-hmm.
the confines and free to be me and coaching somebody without that last name. The real disconnect
mm-hmm.
is, and some people have said this, so this isn't the premise isn't new.
Mm-hmm.
I think how it relates to this situation is, though.
Okay.
Dylan's stardom coming out of high school was rapid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the ascension in rankings was rapid, but the whole time the family would tell you, hey, listen, we're in this developmental phase.
Mm-hmm.
We're not where we need to be yet. And people that actually watch tape that I trust would say, hey, from sophomore year to his junior year, it was this, right? It's a raw thing. It's a raw thing. Then from the junior year film to the senior year film, it's super talented, still learning to play the quarterback position.
Mm-hmm.
So even when we got him, the misnomer was, even when he got to Nebraska, ranking aside, he wasn't as polished
product.
Not even he's still on the upward deal. So he's still learning how to play quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So what was happening was, what was happening was, as Holgerson sees him and he sees these skill sets, he's like, oh, we want him to, he can be this.
Mm-hmm.
We want to substantiate this.
Yeah.
We want to make sure of this. We know he can do this, this, and this. But in the meantime, he's still developing the tools, everything from footwork to timing to reads, things that you think come natural or you should have already,
like pocket presence.
You have, yeah.
That's a reps thing.
That's a reps thing.
Mm-hmm.
That is a total reps thing. So as he made incremental gains in some areas, we didn't see others. We didn't see those same gains in other areas because the development is still the same. But if you ask Dom, if you said, "Hey, Pops, like where is Dylan right now?" He's going to be like, "Man, listen, DB, he's still learning to play the quarterback position.
Yeah,
I want him coached hard. We're being developed. Like this is the long-term game." Like at no point did the family think that even though the rankings were what they were, that's what he was. Like they know.
Sure.
Like they know. Like you're talking about a guy that played double-digit years in the league. Like he knows that his quarterback or his son is still.
We've got your clip.
Is his how long is it? Because I don't know if we'll have time to get it in. I know you guys get mad about breaks.
It's not that long. It's a couple seconds. It's like less than a minute.
Is it the full thing? The NIL, the guys coming?
I took the NIL out, but I have it started.
Oh, you took the NIL?
Where he's talking about how good his quarterback coach is.
Roll it.
Like I have an unbelievable quarterback coach, and if you don't, just the tape speaks that, right? Like Glenn doesn't get nearly any, like, I don't know but like I don't even, I just take it for granted how good he is. You know what I'm saying? Like, but he's been doing that for me for years. I mean, PJ Walker had 16 touchdowns and 18 interceptions his sophomore year. Glenn came in and PJ was elite, right? We started Charlie Brewer as a freshman at Baylor, and Glenn coached him, and he was elite. So I just think, you look at TJ, credit goes to TJ, but I think Glenn's done a really, really, really nice job, and I think it's important I say that. And I'm really saying that, to be honest with you, I'm talking a lot to people out there in recruiting. Like, hey, if you're a good quarterback, you want to go somewhere, I'd come play for Daniel Holgerson and Glenn Thomas.
Bam.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Well done. Because as I'm thinking, he's not. We missed the whole thing.
Go ahead.
We missed the whole thing. He's not talking about TJ.
Mm-hmm.
He's not talking to TJ. He's talking to, my opinion, he's talking to the Raiola type that is questioning
the super highly touted,
the development of what's happening real time at the current institution.
Gotcha.
That's my gut feel.
Gotcha.
That is my gut feel.
So that's to the like Trey Taylor types and beyond.
That is to Dayton Raiola.
Mm-hmm.
That is to not so much to Trey Taylor. That is to maybe the family dynamics. There's a lot in there.
Yeah.
You don't. One more time. This is crazy. This is
like
real time.
I have an unbelievable quarterback coach, and if you don't, just the tape speaks that, right? Like Glenn doesn't get nearly any, like, I don't know but like I don't even, I just take it for granted how good he is. You know what I'm saying? Like, but he's been doing that for me for years. I mean,
yeah, he's talking to somebody in particular.
Yeah, we take for granted how good he is.
Yep. That's he's it's very interesting.
I do.
And I've done this forever.
Yeah.
And I'm not this isn't about clicks. This isn't about sensationalism. This isn't about code. This is about me thinking real time. So these aren't hot takes. It struck me as odd real time when he openly gushed about Glenn Thomas.
Like, where did it come from?
Why?
Yeah. Why now?
Why?
Yeah.
That's I missed it.
So as you're talking about this, it's kind of, so you remember who the other, depending on the rankings, who was 1 or 2 opposite Dylan in his quarterback class? You remember who that was?
I do not.
It was DJ Lagway. Consensus, 5-star.
Oh yeah.
Everybody wants him, right? That's another example of, first of all, stars are projections.
I see you, Kobe.
5 stars are projections, not this is what they are, right? You got 5 stars. Same thing in basketball, pick a sport, right? 5 stars are projections to what this person can be. Sometimes they come in as basically finished product, but positionally, that's usually not true at quarterback. This is why we've had this conversation about how hard it is to start as a true freshman quarterback at a power conference level, right?
But the strange thing is the family never thought Dylan was more than what he was.
Yeah, they didn't think he was a finished product. My point.
So it's not unfair. I don't want to come across as like some whiny. I'm just going to keep it a buck, right? It's like you could regurgitate that, keep it a buck. It's a deal where the perception versus what's actually going on was never the same.
The perception of what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, and I can't speak for Dom because I don't have permission. Right?
Sure. Yeah,
it's not like when he's talking to me, it's like, hey, man, go share this. But there was never this sense in that family's camp that their son was what everybody, not everybody else, what we wanted him to be.
Not from day one.
Nope.
Right?
Nope.
Like, I think that's
at no point was Dom telling me, well, he's this and he's not getting this. It was always, this is what we want for him. This is where we hope to be.
Mm-hmm.
The media and like when we're critiquing him, we made it seem, we talked as though that Dylan already thought this. That's never how he thought. I told you 2 months ago, he wanted to be coached hard.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted, the fitness, the chef, like it was all part of, we need to get him better. So now you get in a situation where you have to weigh what he's been through, where he's going, rehab, is the juice worth the squeeze? I mean, because we look at the stats, what's the development? It's just
Raiola stats from this year to last year.
Yeah.
So right now he's right at 2,000 yards, 18-6 over 70% completion.
I mean, he's clearly better.
Absolutely. Last year he was at
clearly a better quarterback.
11-9, I think. 12.
I don't know. Like, is it at the speed or the rate that we wanted it to be, given what he came in with, the accolades?
Sure.
But the family never thought that.
Also, look at the way other high-level QBs develop. This is why
it's hard.
This is why I talked so much about what the expectation level about true freshman quarterbacks should be.
Like, so when I think you have the finger ready, AJ?
Which one?
Thomas, not the middle.
I was going to say, I don't think that's appropriate at work, but yeah.
Can I real quick?
I see why she said yes, because every other answer to me is some innuendo. That must be how you ride. The Thomas clip.
The same one we just had?
Yep.
Okay, we can play that again.
Like I have an unbelievable quarterback coach, and if you don't, just the tape speaks that, right? Like Glenn doesn't get nearly any, like, I don't know but like I don't even, I just take it for granted how good he is. You know what I'm saying? Like, but he's been doing that for me for years. I mean, PJ Walker had 16 touchdowns and 18 interceptions his sophomore year. Glenn came in and PJ was elite, right? We started Charlie Brewer as a freshman at Baylor, and Glenn coached him, and he was elite. So I just think, you look at TJ, credit goes to TJ, but I think Glenn's done a really, really, really nice job, and I think it's important I say that. And I'm really saying that, to be honest with you, I'm talking a lot to people out there in recruiting. Like, hey, if you're a good quarterback, you want to go somewhere, I'd come play for Daniel Holgerson and Glenn Thomas.
That son of a gun.
Real quick before we take a break and have to get to BC here.
Oh, boy.
Do you remember the timing of Glenn Thomas coming to Nebraska?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
So there was it wasn't official until after Dylan signed, but it was widely reported well before signing day that Glenn Thomas was going to be the new quarterbacks coach at the University.
And the pedigree of what he had done with unpolished guys coming in, and
maybe not a coincidence that helped sway the decision.
Yeah,
just something to keep in mind. Timing is interesting.
Yeah. Wow.
Let's take a quick break here.
I do know one thing.
What's that?
All right, he's, for all the flaws and the in game and the timeout counting and the wins against top 25 deals, don't ever doubt the fact that dude is not ahead of the game. Don't ever doubt that he can't be the best. Dude, his pivot game and his foreshadowing is, I don't know how it's going to work in wins and losses. This dude will not be caught holding the smoking gun. I don't know, man. This is going to be a long day for me.
Well, let's get some help in here. Coming up next, we're going to talk to our guy, Brian Christopherson from Husker 24/7. We will be right back with more Hurrdat Sports Live.
As far as what's going on, meaning like the coaching change?
Conversations that you guys have.
I would say that it's really no different than any other scenario. Yes, I'm from there, but like I've also coached at a lot of places. So the experience to go back there and coach there is awesome. And to be around some family and friends, and I even have some friends of mine I grew up with that played at Penn State that still live up there, so I'll see them. But as far as what's going on with them and their program, we're so locked in on, all the things that go on with our program and how we're trying to make sure, we're playing as well as we can on defense on a day-to-day and week-to-week basis. But I'm sure things will work out. In 2013, I remember it was a close game. I think we lost, meaning we as not Nebraska, but the team I was coaching. But not a whole lot of memories about that in terms of, I remember then coming here the next year, I believe, or maybe it was the year before, I'm not sure, maybe it was 2012. Both of those games were tight games, and there was a play in the end zone, I think, here that I remember that because I remember that I think they got the call wrong. But, yeah, it should have been a touchdown, and we should have won that game. But anyway.
At Centris Federal Credit Union, we understand that the journey of building your own business typically starts with modest beginnings. With a little help from our team of experts and small business loan offerings, you can take your vision and transform it into a more concrete reality. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Yeah, it's definitely different to play them in the first round. I think we've been the 1 and 2 seed I think every year I've been here at Creighton. So again, kudos to Xavier. They've had just an incredible season and have stayed really clean. It's where they bookended their regular season with losses, 1 to us and 1 to Marquette, and just played great volleyball in between. And so it's awesome. So we get to play Marquette round 1. It'll be fun. It's always a great match. It's always a really hard place to play at. They have a great student section. They get their athletes to come out and make things tough for sure. Yeah, but it's what our league does, and you can't host 2 years in a row. So even though we won last year, we don't host this year, but we'll host again next year. So it just kind of is what it is, but it'll prepare us for tough matches ahead. Again, we hope to be playing long into December, which means we're gonna have to go on the road somewhere tough and figure out a way to win. So this will be a great test for that.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat headquarters this morning, and we are joined now by the one and only Brian Christopherson of Husker 24/7 BC. We'll pop him up on screen here. Do we have him, or is he just audio? Just audio? Okay. BC, how we doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir. We've got you.
All right, good deal. Yeah, I'm ready.
So, slow morning this morning, huh?
Yeah. Newsy morning. I'm trying to piece it together myself. I was listening to you guys. I was actually driving in at sort of as it was breaking. Tom Loy for our site reported it with Dayton, and I guess if you just think about it in the terms of just the quarterback situation Nebraska has set up right now, and with obviously Trey Taylor in the wings, TJ Lateef, looking good in his first start, and there's a lot of promise there, and obviously Dylan in the fold. If you kind of take away everything else, which I know we can't do, like, it makes complete sense to me somewhat, because Nebraska does have a stable sort of setup that looks good on paper, where it's pretty crowded. But of course, I know you can't take the last name out of this conversation, but it is interesting. And then I actually was glad I heard Damon calling up the clip from Rule earlier this week, and that was honestly, we were thinking alike on that. That I was thinking about that comment as I was hearing the news about him. I thought he was just talking to recruits in general, but no, he was talking very specifically about quarterbacks and mentioning Glenn Thomas and like how good a coach he is. And so all that's really interesting as you kind of throw it together in your head in real time.
Yeah, BC, like that's why we're boys. Because I'm and listen, I'm not like some shock jock hot take thing, but this is real time, and I'm trying to connect the pieces based on the personality traits, and without getting into anything other than hypothesis, which is fine. Like, we can speculate and talk about that, and I'm more than willing, because clearly I've done it in the first segment. Here's something that I think. So there's two things I'm going to hang my hat on. Number one, this staff almost refuses to ever be caught off guard. And even if they are, their ability to pivot seeming seamlessly is admirable, right? Where it's like, okay, this is how it's going to go. This is what I see happening. We'll do this, and we'll move on anyway, right? So they don't really blink. But the other thing is, I like how, whether we know what to do with the information or not real time, we are privy to the information.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like I can ride with that. Coach, it's very, very fluid, and it's never going to be perfect. But one thing I think this is going to teach us as a fan base and in the media is I wouldn't panic every time something on the surface looks a certain way. Like don't panic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
wouldn't. That's kind of where I'm landing the plane right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't say this is a panic moment at all. I mean, I understand the ripple effects in people's head, and people are wondering because of the last name, if there's some connection there. But I kind of go back to my original thought. Like, put yourself in a young guy's shoes like Dayton's, and there's so much. So many words for good reason, and because he's out there as a recruit, like, spent on the guy who's actually a class behind you in Trey Taylor. There's obviously a lot of steam right now around TJ and the way he's doing how he played in his first start, and Dayton also has a front row seat. Like, it is intense. It would be different for him than Dylan, don't get me wrong, but you do see up close, like, all that goes into being the starting quarterback at Nebraska and everything that's with it. And I'm sure he's going to have other good opportunities on the table. So maybe just personally for him, the pieces kind of will fit better somewhere else. And I could totally understand that when you kind of think about the whole situation and a recruit trying to maybe decide what is his best scenario for the next few years. And that doesn't have to mean that there's some other big thing going on. And I know, Dylan himself, like, really loved being coached hard by Glenn Thomas and taking that hard coaching that you were talking about in the previous segments. And so I think that him and that family are built that way where they like that stuff. But there is kind of a logjam at quarterback. And so I always wondered if, can you keep all those pieces together? Usually not. Usually someone goes a different direction. And so that's what we have on this Wednesday morning.
BC, the thing that everybody's pointing to and jumping to conclusions here, and maybe it's right, maybe it's not, I have no idea, is the connection between Dayton's decision and what that might mean for a Dylan decision. Is that something you've even started to think about? Is that something that you've processed through it all, or where are you at on that?
I think everybody's brain is going to ponder that. It doesn't mean you have to jump to the conclusion that means something's happening there. We're just going to have to wait and see. And I think Damon makes a good point about this is a staff that doesn't panic. I don't think this is a panic moment. If you want a good example of it, go back to basically the first week of December last portal coaching change cycle, when to outsiders, it felt like crap was hitting the fan, with you've got coaches going to Florida State and all this stuff. And I remember that was right around some of the early signing day. And I was struck by, and I don't think it was just a show for the cameras, how cool Matt Rule was about it all. And like, we're fine, this is fine. We'll basically sort of a mindset, like when there's something that some people perceive as a negative thing, there's just like, okay, sort of like you have to do as a coach or a player on the field. It's like, what's next? What's our next move? Or in many cases, they've already processed that move way before it's public. Like that, I agree with the idea that I don't think they're caught off guard very, very seldomly, and probably not in this situation either, honestly.
BC, I think you kind of touched on something there that I think is what maybe is bothering me the most about some people's reaction to this situation. And that is this panic that sets in anytime we think someone that of significance might be leaving, right? Like there is, or, we see it with decommit sometimes. Obviously we see it with transfers. We saw it with coaching staff last year. And maybe it's because in the years past, we haven't had very well run programs, but I do think there is this thing that we need to get past as a fan base and maybe as media members as well, to not panic every time. Like, yes, obviously Dylan Raiola is a really good quarterback. Let's say it does mean that he's leaving. That still, to me, isn't a good reason to panic necessarily, if that makes sense.
No, I'm with you. If you're going to play in the big boy space in college football, these are going
to happen.
Yeah, that's just part of it. Like this stuff is, Georgia and those programs. There's going to be like 4-star guys sometimes where he flips on you at the last second, or you think someone's in your program, then he's not. That sort of stuff. And you have to be well aligned, which Nebraska feels it is, with its leadership and with its finances. That you're like, okay, that happened, let's slide over to this other option that we're looking at, or we had a plan already for this if these dominoes fell that way. And so I just think, you do have to kind of get used to that. I think you're right about that sometimes with reaction around here. I can't say how it compares to other places, but I do think, like, even sometimes, and I don't want to knock a specific kid, but like a 3-star lineman can decommit. And with some people, that's like, what's going on? I don't know, what's the big deal? It's like, all right, just calm down. Like there's only so many spaces in the class. And, you don't know. Sometimes those things are two-way too, why there are decommitments and stuff like that. So people do got to kind of get used to it. I don't want to tell fans how to fan. But this is an interesting one because of the last name, and he's been committed a long time and all that. So I get it. It's going to be one that people are going to speculate about, and that's understandable too.
I love the the reference you're talking about to this space, and if you want to play in this space, because I do think we're going to have to shift gears a little bit in terms of how we look at loyalty is too strong of a word, but like, the connection and the commitment and feeling connected during the recruiting cycles to players and then watching their careers block. Like, we're clearly going to have to transition. And along those lines, BC, if we have to kind of adjust, how do you think, or how is it offset at the stadium where Nebraska can build themselves to be able to ride the wave? Is it in the recruiting profile? Is it in the guys that you bring in? Is it setting the culture, like I've talked about, where you want to make it a difficult place to leave? Like, what is it? What do you think Nebraska's building that can buoy or sustain us while we're transitioning our thought process?
I think it's setting a culture that makes guys, once you can get them here, see that if I fight this out and I believe in myself and I actually have the talents I think I do, I will succeed at this program. And there's proof of it because of this guy at this position or that guy at this other position. And you just sort of build up such data with those type of stories, like an Emmett Johnson is a great example. And Rule and his staff are right to highlight him the way they do, not only for having a great individual season, but like the whole publicity thing with him last week is great for your current players and recruits to tell them, this is a guy who did kind of jump on the scene, at least to people outside our bubble, out of nowhere. Like, people didn't know about Emmett Johnson outside of Nebraska until probably this year very much. And now he's, one of the best running backs in the country. And he's a guy who had to have patience with it and was developed within the program well and has had that success. And if you look at Nebraska's roster right now, this has been well documented, but I'll say it again, 91 of 125 guys are sophomores or younger. And I don't know how that exactly stacks up with other schools, but it is an interesting dynamic where Nebraska truly is trying or looking to be a development program with guys retaining guys and just keep building them in an era where we are very portal centric in all our conversations and thoughts. And so to your question, I just think if you can build that idea like, hey, this is the type of place for, we stick with guys, and if you stick with it here, you can have success. And it doesn't have to be a program where the door is always opening and one guy's leaving, another guy's coming in. And I think you can possibly try to be somewhat of an outlier even in this day and age. And I think Nebraska has a setup where maybe that's a pursuit.
So, BC, let me ask you something from the 30,000-foot view. When I look at, I'll give you just different cases. Take Dylan Rogers, Elijah Pritchett, and even Dylan Raiola, right, who came in with kind of the high accolades, as did Pritchett. Can you make, or would you make, even Emmett Johnson, is there anything that you would say about development and culture that ties all four kind of different guys together, right? You have the high profile transfer, the under recruited, star and Emmett, the 5-star out of high school quarterback, and the guy that stayed the course in the program. If you were going to take that act on the road and sell it to somebody on why Nebraska has a chance, what are the connecting factors for you outside of Coach Rule's leadership?
I think you could sell it as guys who like to get coached hard and just believe in the staff and how they can develop them. And guys who are sort of old school guys. Like Dylan Rogers is a guy who's kind of sticking out to me of those names you mentioned. Like Dylan Rogers, to me, was like a recruit. When he committed and signed, nobody made a big deal about him. Like, he was like an afterthought in that recruiting class. And he's a guy who just went about his business and I think has seen and you could that the facilities and all the stuff is right here in front of me to succeed. The coaching and all that, I can do it. If I'm as good a player as I think I am, I just have to go through the proper steps and I'll get there. And so, but I think your question's good because it does combine a lot of different guys. So you got the sort of undersold guy in Dylan Rogers. You got a guy who was a big time recruit in Pritchett, but people are kind of skeptical on, like, can he get it all together and all that sort of stuff. And the fact that you could go into a high school and say, look at Pritch, he's a guy who came in as, I'm sure he was well compensated to come in here, and he didn't start right away for us. He had to go earn it, and he did the process. And I think you can connect to a lot of guys who want that sort of thing, who are at least in their mind want to think they're that kind of guy, who don't want it easy. And when Phil Simpson did a radio interview the other day, he talked about, this is a hard program. This is a hard program to play in. It's a hard program to coach in. And I tell people that. And I think you're telling people up front, that's what this place is like. You don't sell them that it's all sunshine and rainbows, actually. And some people, I think, do that. But I think you can get enough of the right guys by just being straight to it and be like, it's going to be hard. We're going to tell you that right off the bat. Are you that kind of guy that wants it to be hard? And I think most competitors, you can find enough of them that are going to want that in their life and want to say they're that type of guy and take on that challenge. So I think there is a big sell there, because I don't think everybody's going to come at it that way. And I think a lot of prospects might appreciate it, honestly.
Yeah, and I ask you, BC, to take Coach Rule out of it, because that takes the blinders off of folks that feel we may lack objectivity, right? So if you remove Coach Rule, and even though I think he's the catalyst for the culture, you have because even Dylan is clearly better today as a quarterback than when they got him. Now, we can argue the varying degrees of what he was when he started, what he is when he's currently injured, but he's clearly a better quarterback. Pritchett is clearly a better left or right tackle. Dylan Rogers is clearly a better player. Emmett Johnson is clearly a better runner. If it's about development and you like the culture, is this sustainable if you're going to be the program, like you said earlier, when you said if you're going to play in these waters and play with the big boy programs, we've got to be encouraged, don't we? Or is that just me?
No, I mean, I have been big picture with what they're doing over there, and I think I understand why it's hard sometimes when you're on the car ride in the process, and you do have some of these stops and starts, and there's a night like Minnesota a few weeks ago, and it makes everyone feel like, where is this really going? You kind of get that immediate reaction to it. But I think when you step back and you think about how they are trying to build it and the plan that's in place, I feel like it's the first time. I mean, you can't knock Pelini's results, but I would say even before that, I'd go back further than him as far as just planning and the purpose, like of the plan that's set forward by the head coach, but also then brought down by the assistants and all the people involved. I feel like they're the best they've been in a couple decades as far as planning and having a real good idea about what they want to be, and also showing a willingness to shift a thing here or there in an age where you sometimes have to, like where maybe the rules change on you a little bit, so you have to go maybe a different lane than you would have 3 or 4 years ago if you're a head coach at a program. And I think we've seen that rule kind of adjust to that. But I think the people who gravitate toward him as coaches and players, I think for the most part are guys who do want difficult things. Like they want to take on a challenge. And so again, I think that can be an advantage to you, even in this day and age. We sometimes act like everybody wants it easy. I think there's a lot of guys out there who compete, who are in high school or 16 years old right now that are getting up at 5 a.m. every day. They don't want it easy. And so there's going to be an appeal to that. And also knowing it's going to be hard, but they also got awesome facilities and they're going to take care of me if I go out and bust my butt.
BC, how much do you think about guys like Williams Winery in sort of this situation and sort of this whole conversation we're talking about? He kind of fits that Elijah Pritchett mold, but I keep thinking of him as, wasn't quite as, I guess, written off as a Pritchett may have been, but a guy that I don't think most of us expected a ton out of. Like, is that, when we talk about being a developmental program versus balancing a transfer portal, I think a lot of a Williams Winery where it's like, okay, maybe this is a super highly touted guy Nebraska misses on the first time, but they still have 3 or 4 years with him once he bounces back.
Yeah, I mean, he's a really good example. If you had asked me what is his role on this defense back in the spring or even maybe the summer, you were starting to figure it out a little bit that he was going to be heavily involved. But I thought, like, okay, maybe this is a year where he's like a fringe guy who's playing, 15 to 18 snaps, something like that. This guy's playing 50 snaps a game. And I think has progressively gotten better and is a good example of also sort of the point of this segment, I guess, of like, he was actually one spot above Dylan Raiola in the 24/7 Sports final rankings, like number 6 overall. But obviously, he's not a guy who wants it easy. Like, I mean, he's taken to the coaching, and I think probably is a good example. If you put a recruit around him, he would say, it's just a good culture here. Like the people care about you, and it's a team that seems to be pretty tight. And he would be a great example that. If you look at Nebraska's defense, and I know there's been some tough series here and there, but they've got a lot of youth that can come back next year. I mean, they've got 18 of the 25 top snap getters can play on this team next year if they want to. And I mean, that's not a bad setup. Rex Guthrie is a young guy playing a ton of snaps, and there's a lot of guys in that 2 deep, I mean, Caleb's coming up too, and that you've got guys that are young that they're going to count on next year, and I think that's appealing too. Like, you got to put in the hard work, but it's also not a program where they're afraid to play young guys. I mean, Dawson Merritt's been out there when healthy, and Cade Petchock's been out there, so I think guys see that too.
You think at the end of the day that the differentiator on guys that stay in this program and that end up leaving for whatever reason or whatever their talent level is just going to be guys that are cut out or built a certain way to want to, like you said, deal with working and living and playing in a program where it's sort of difficult to exist?
I think it can be done, and I think they've got a nice start on that being done. And yes, I think that's what you're going to have to be in the program. And I do think there's probably some places that are up front with players about this is how difficult it's going to be, like in a mat drill, like when it's 5 degrees one day in February. Like, maybe some places actually tell that to recruits and stuff, but I'm not so sure many do. And I actually think I think there's something in this era to just being straight to the point, like, this is how it's going to be here. It's going to be hard, but we're going to love you up when you put in the work, and the people are going to love you up. This program's going to get covered like nobody's business. It's covered like an NFL team. It's got all that stuff. You just got to put in the work, and that's the way it's going to be. And I just go back to this. There's a lot of guys out there who want that. And you can find them, and I think they've got some of them in that program right now. And there's also guys who are showing, like, hey, maybe it didn't happen my first or second year, but by my third or fourth, I kept with this, and it did work out. So you're starting to get more examples that you can put right in front of people's eyeballs. And ideally, that just sort of feeds off itself, right? Like, next year you got double that amount of stories, and then you double that the next year, and then you're off and running. That's what you're looking for.
No. Yeah, give just a second here, BC.
Yeah, no
working on some technical difficulties here at the at headquarters. Yeah, Austin's gonna help him out with his headset here. There you go. I think he's back.
BC, sorry about that. I stepped on my own cord.
Oh,
like that. Anyway, B, let me ask you something. You knew it was going to be a small class. You could tell it was going to be a small class. When you go back and you listen to Coach Rule be very firm and direct about it being a small class and spots closing quickly, do you look at that any different now in hindsight?
I don't know, maybe a little bit.
I don't know if I'm reading too much into it, but I just, there are no coincidences, right?
No, probably not. I mean, there definitely wasn't when he talked about Glenn Thomas specifically. And if you want to,
yeah, I'm looking at that whole thing different now.
Yeah, that quote seems pretty obvious now. A few days later, yeah. I mean, you talk about panic. That has been sometimes a panic point. Although I think a lot of people have been pretty reasonable, I have to say, about this class and its ranking and understanding, like, yeah, you're gonna see a graphic or something that they're ranked 80th or whatever this cycle, but I think people are starting to wise up to the idea that I always use it as like a sandwich. It's like, what are your two recruiting classes, and then like what's the portal class in between them? Like you're almost combining like three things together now to actually form a full opinion on like the prospects you've brought in over like 12 months. And so I do think people are adapting to that mindset. But yeah, if you're a recruit out there, I think, Nebraska can say, like, if we're after you right now at this point in the 26th class, we really want you because this is a small class. So you're very valued if you're a part of that. And also, that if any recruit does his research, Nebraska will play the portal game a little bit. And, they're just not taking people to take them right now. Not that a lot of places are, but that would be very obvious to any prospect. And so if I got an offer from Nebraska today and did even a minimal amount of research, I'd be like, they're really into me. Like this isn't a show deal. This is a place that sees how I can be used and that I could be a player there.
BC, we got to let you go, but real quick here, just not speaking about anybody specifically, and I mean that. How often, just for people who aren't as familiar with the recruiting processes, how often is it when we see a decommit that it is the kid's choice versus a school's choice to no longer take that player?
I would say over my history of doing it, I don't know. It's probably like more slanted toward the school, probably in general, and over like a decade of doing this. But sometimes it is honestly a kid's shot, or it's just an understanding between both sides. A lot of times it just sort of fizzles a little bit, right? Like a kid kind of understands, I'm not hearing from these guys quite as much. And I'm sure there's some truth. Some staffs, I'm sure, are better about just speaking to the point than others about it. But a lot of times it's just kind of obvious, like, hey, the love, it just doesn't quite, there wasn't that love connection there was like 6 months ago or a year ago, or you see that maybe they're going a different way. And so I'd say as much as it is a kid, oftentimes it's the school. It's probably at least 50-50, I think.
Okay, that's all I was wondering, because I think that number would surprise people, just for my anecdote.
Yeah, it probably would.
BC, we appreciate the time so much. Great stuff as always. We'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, B Sizzle.
Coming up next, we're going to talk to Andy Kendeigh from KETV here on Hurrdat Sports Live.
Obviously happy with, how he handled everything. Thought he played, really good first time out, which we expected him to. I mean, there's a lot of confidence, in the coaches with him. We talked about that, and then he went out there and proved it. I think the coolest thing that, him handling going back home was awesome. Okay, now that was his element too. The weather and Southern Cal is kind of his element right there, and he felt good in pregame, and we even kind of kidded around about that, just as far as, the ball was kind of sticky, and he was spinning it pretty good, and he played well. From an offense, it was probably our most efficient game. If you just look at all the stuff that matters that we always talk about, I mean, those numbers were pretty good, from yards per play to critical downs to red zone touchdowns, just all that stuff that it takes to win games.
I don't think anybody on our team really cared about the streak set because it's pretty irrelevant for our sport. But I thought we played great on Sunday, and there's a lot of excuses we could give ourselves for being a little flat on Friday, and we still won and ended on a great note, and that's set 4, and then played great on Sunday. So it was a really good trip, and I think everybody was fired up with the way it ended. Yeah, I think we put ourselves in so many tough situations in practice, and we're constantly talking about what we're learning each game. Whether we lose an actual set or not, I don't think that has any bearing on if we're going to win a national championship or not. So, of course, we're losing lessons every single game, no matter what the score is. And our team is learning things every day in practice still to this point. And so I think we're in a pretty good spot again.
At Centris Federal Credit Union, we have the tools and resources to help our members fulfill their financial goals, with a focus on building a stronger community for the next generation of leaders. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports headquarters. We are joined now by Andy Kendeigh from KETV. AK, what's going on, buddy?
What's happening, boys? Are you guys in a space shuttle, or where in the hell are you?
That's feels a little bit more existential question than I think you realize. No, we are at we're at Hurrdat headquarters right now. We were having some internet issues at the bar, so we.
I got you. I've had that. If I had a dime for every time I had internet problems at a bar, I'd be a rich man, my friend.
It's very palatial in here, AK. I'm feeling a little overwhelmed at the freedom of movement that I have, and as you know, and Lauren and Eddie will tell you, Damon, sit still. Stop moving.
I
We're
know.
off camera. This is too much freedom.
I know,
for any
right?
one person to have.
You've heard a coaching box. We got to put you in the Damon box, right?
Yeah.
No Damon box there. It's outstanding.
Well, that's Ravi. Like, we're at the bar every break. The only hard thing about not ever taking breaks like adults when we're supposed to is I have to sit that long. But the minute we're done, I'm standing and walking.
Pacing.
Right.
I'm somewhere. So right now I'm in heaven. It might drive everybody else crazy, but I feel great.
I usually just yell at him, "Hey, you're coming back, right?"
Yeah. Yeah. We're on at 30. Damon, do you keep track of your steps? Are you an old guy? Are you an old guy meter reader like me? Like I keep track of my steps every day?
I don't know. Does Android make anything fancy that you can put on your wrist? Because I don't have anything Apple. Ask Eddie. He was trying to figure out the iPad a couple of weeks ago, and I probably toured the facility while he was doing that, and it only took him like 80 seconds. But I wasn't about to sit still and watch. That's for sure.
Yeah, video was a little jumpy a couple of weeks ago. If people were watching, but yeah, it's technology is great when it works, my friend.
Hey, so AK, how are you getting to State College?
This is my 7th trip to that lovely venue in the middle of Pennsylvania. I've pretty much done Philly. I've done Harrisburg. We're going Pittsburgh this time. And I've obviously, if you can fly into State College, it's the best. But obviously, the price is to get into State College.
All played, so I'm very put off by that, AK.
Yeah, I date myself because I say the State College Airport is the closest thing you'll get to the TV show Wings. Remember Wings? That is what State College is. The luggage carousel wasn't even a circle. It wasn't even a semicircle. It was about 10 feet, and it was on a curve. It was like a corner.
I'm going to give you guys a little perspective, right? I'm old. And I flew into Stillwater in '93 for a Thursday night game. And I think the nose of our plane hit the tip of the runway. So there's no funny jokes. There are zero funny jokes about small, intimate airports because we were anybody that was on that flight. We flew in on that Wednesday. It's like, oh my God, we're going to ride real estate. We're going to stop. We're going to stop. We're going to stop. We're going to stop. Yeah,
did they have a net? Did they have a netting at the end?
It's like trying to stop on an aircraft carrier.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You should have a net there.
So it was funny. I'm always looking for places to eat, and this was probably not nearly early enough. Like I'm not gas can with like a year out of planning, but so this is 3 weeks ago, AK, and I'm looking for restaurants. And we can't get in anywhere. We finally found a spot. So I Googled just how far it was because I wanted to stay at State College. Mm-hmm. It is 8 minutes from the stadium. We have never eaten anywhere on any Big Ten trip. That is 8 minutes from the stadium. I'm like, well, State College is snug.
I was going to say, further than 8 minutes out, you're not in State College anymore.
Man, it's very, very quaint and very intimate. But props to you for being able and having the stones to drive in the mountains at night. I would that spark.
Yeah, that's the thing. The mountains at night are terrible.
Listen, I can gamify anything. I can make anything competitive. I would sit at the foot of the mountains before we would head up to Estes, and I would tell myself, "You're not going to be afraid. You're not going to be afraid. You're going to go 31 mile an hour. And I would like pep talk this thing. And as white as my knuckles could get, man, I would drive that thing and be terrified about to wet my pants the whole way. If I have the option, AK, I'm not doing that. So good on you for driving from Pittsburgh, man.
Well, because Pittsburgh is mostly interstate, and we've done the Harrisburg thing before. And I'll tell you that the 11 game, where that was right after the whole Sandusky thing broke and that Paterno thing, it was just unbelievable, like surreal. Like the atmosphere surrounding the stadium, the everything that went into that game, whatever. And then we have to drive home. It's like snowing, and we're going down these mountain ranges. And if you remember, Todd Andrews, our news guy, came on that trip, and he was driving.
I call him GQ Smooth. That guy never had a hair out of place. He's just a good.
No kidding. Dude. Fantastic. Yes, and he was driving. I was like, oh Todd, please. I was
Did he
pleased.
drive cool? Because he always looked cool. I bet he was a cool driver too, wasn't he?
Well, he tried to be, but even in those conditions, it was trying. But yeah, we're doing the Pittsburgh thing. I think we're staying. I'll tell you, boys, if anyone has up for an adventure and has some disposable income, you can get in for very cheap this weekend. I saw
Are you
tickets.
shocked? So that's what I've been hearing, AK.
Yeah, under $10 get in price. Under $10 get in price. It was as low as $5 to get a ticket. That's including fees. That was yesterday. That was yesterday. Now, it's varied. Like the other day, it was like $8. Like, okay, $8 to get in to watch Nebraska. Now the problem is getting there, obviously, but I'll be interested to see how much red is there. The students are on break after Friday. How many of those are going to stick around for this game? Penn State, though, has something to play for. Talk about they could salvage something positive out of this season with a win. They're still in position, and obviously they've got some dudes. Their roster is full of dudes, and so I don't know. And the odds makers think they have all the ability since they're favored by almost double digits. So I think it's actually a pretty intriguing matchup when you think about it. It is from a Nebraska perspective, and I'm not going to pound this. I'm not going to pound this point too much, but the late game traveling back, that's a challenge. But I like Coach Rule's response the other day on Monday. I thought it was great. He was like, let's try to do something tough. Let's do something tough. And I thought that was a nice tone setter for the week. And it's not ideal, but hopefully Nebraska can make the most of these last 10 days of the season, because 10 days from now we'll be trying to figure out what bowl that they're going to.
Apparently passive aggressive snarky Coach Rule is my new favorite. Coach Rule.
Yes. Yeah.
I thought the 5-minute open after the bye week was classic. I have to go back and re-listen to this week because he knew way more than he was leading on to when he was talking, wasn't he?
Oh, no doubt. I think he only gives us he gives us don't get me wrong, he is fantastic with us, right? But that there's more there, and he allows us just enough to run with stuff. But it's interesting. He does. You can tell he's got volumes behind those comments. No doubt. He could expand if he really wanted to.
Keith, what was that for? 4 night?
Yeah, four. We
play the early slot against Iowa. Yeah, sure. Why not come back? We do tough things. Right? Yeah. I
love playing on national TV.
We don't have any allowances like some of those other schools. Yeah, Keith. How many night games is this?
Like I love it. Yeah. Do I love getting home at 3 a.m? Of course not. Yes. Yeah, of course I do. Of course I love getting home there.
It's just interesting how the lifelong learner kind of uses all those things that he's accrued along the way to keep these guys dialed in and motivated while he's trying to shape this culture, right? And then he brings those same skill sets into how he wants them to attack these teams on the road too. Like whether it works or not, I don't know, but you don't have to worry about inconsistency of message or authenticity, right? Like he's consistent in how he wants to deliver these death blows.
Yeah, and I think the message is obviously everyone's locked. Yeah, and everybody's in lockstep with them, right? Players, coaches, everybody knows the message going into the week, which I actually find very admirable. There's no, Dana is his own person, but still, even Dana goes to he reverts back to what Coach Rule's message is, and it's a pretty interesting deal when you think about this team could finish this season 7-5, or it could finish the season 9-3. That's the fascinating thing about these last 10 days of November that we're dealing with. And are they both winnable? Absolutely. Could they lose both? Absolutely. It just depends on which team is going to show up and really which defense is going to show up too.
AK, what's the plan for state football coming up here?
Oh boy, yeah, it's going to be a busy one, right? And nobody's complaining. We like to do tough things in television, So we've got Monday, Tuesday, state championships. We got Lauren on Monday covering Class B. Lauren's going to cover coordinators in the morning on Tuesday. Matt Tilly's doing Class A and the C1, C2 games. And then obviously we have this is the unique thing about television. We've got a pregame show leading into a game that's not on our air on Friday. So please join us at 10 to 11 live from outside Memorial Stadium. as we get you ready for the Heroes game. How about that? Was that a good, energetic promo?
That was very diplomatic and unselfish of you.
Yes.
Anything
for the team.
You took one for the team to pimp your own squad. I like that.
That's right. Anything for the club, as you know. I'm a team player. There is an I in Kendeigh, but not in team. Just remember that.
Wow. That is our guy, Andy Kendeigh, KETV. AK, we appreciate you.
Real quick. When do you get in, Andy?
We get in. We're actually staying in Altoona, which is about 40 minutes outside. But we're going to be. We land. We land in Pittsburgh like 1-ish. We'll be up in State College by 5-ish. If you're around, we'll join you for dinner.
Well, where aren't they gonna be? I mean, yeah.
Where's he gonna be?
Yeah, he's gonna be. He's not going 8 minutes from his place. That's for sure. Let's go. We'll pick you up.
So, this is so DB.
Yeah.
The first thing I'm thinking of is, what in the world am I gonna do from 6 a.m. because of the Eastern body clock on Saturday morning until pregame? Besides, look at the ceiling in my hotel room.
You're going to be pacing. You should get a step counter because you're going to be pacing at top during the day.
I Googled the gym or the workout facility at our hotel, and it's like, hope it's warm enough to walk because I don't want to take a coat.
I'm just happy you guys aren't staying at the old Ramada Inn that used to house the visiting teams there. That place was
can't be any worse than the one that used to be on Maryland's campus that's now part of their academic institution. I can't believe that was a hotel.
Well, those rooms were about as small as my closet.
I'm waiting for some pretend voice to say Norman. That thing was giving me the creep.
That's great. Yeah, it's a big long wait on Saturday, but you know what? Hopefully it'll be all worth it, and that you'll have a joyous ride home.
It's a Bates Motel reference for you spring chickens.
Yes, exactly.
All right, old man AK.
All right.
DB,
count those steps, DB.
Yeah, me and my Android.
Yeah.
All right, buddy.
We'll see you later.
See you guys.
That is Andy Kendeigh from KETV.
Apparently, I'm kicking Kobe back out of the family. Apparently,
because the iPhone stuff.
Yeah. Well, he has such strong. Kobe, do you not believe in grace? No, it's just everything is Kobe's way. I like Kobe. He's fun.
Let's take a quick break here. We've got Mitch Sherman coming up at 9. We'll come back a couple minutes early. And I don't know. I feel like we're not. Some people in the chat are not totally processing things.
Oh, you want to land a plane?
Oh, yeah. I think I'd like to.
The floor is yours.
A little bit. So we have people talking about NIL money, and first of all, I don't think that has anything to do with Dayton. I don't think the NIL money has anything to do with Dayton. And isn't the elephant in the room here? And I'm speaking for myself, not for anybody else. So maybe I'm way off here, but I have spoken to some town evaluators that might agree with me. Isn't the elephant in the room here that none of us really necessarily thought Dayton was good enough to play Big Ten football? Like, for me, that's the elephant in the room, because the people I've talked to, and I'm not dragging anybody else into this because I haven't asked permission to use names, but the people I've talked to who are town evaluators in this space, most of them did not believe Dayton was a power conference quarterback at this point. If you look at his other offers, other schools didn't seem to think he was a power conference quarterback at this point. So if we're worried about Dayton, the only reason we should be worried about Dayton is if you think it is an indicator of what will happen with Dylan. If that's what you're worried about, that's fine. But if you're worried about Nebraska not having Dayton as a quarterback on their roster, that's the last thing I'm worried about. I never thought he was going to play at Nebraska. I thought it was Dylan, and then TJ, and then Trey. And anybody else would come in through the transfer portal. I don't know what Marcos Davilo is. I have no idea, but he was a 4-star at one point. Anybody who's actually concerned about the fact that Dayton won't be a football player at Nebraska, I don't understand it at all.
Yeah, I don't know, what the agendas or kind of what we're really thinking is, but it's just going to be one of those things until we see if Nebraska wins enough games about whether we care or not.
Sure.
Because, if they win, we won't care. If a quarterback gets hurt 2 years from now, we'll find some way to drum this up. It's just
Well, I'm sure
it's just kind of what we
and
did.
I'm sure we'll be like, well, why didn't they recruit Jett Thomalla? I'm sure that'll come up. It already has, but let's say 2 years from now, let's say Jett is having a great time at Bama. Let's say 2-3 years from now, he's the starter at Bama. That would be incredible. I would be thrilled for him, by the way. That'd be awesome. Like, in 2 or 3 years from now, we'll be doing the Joe Burrow thing all over again. Well, did you know Jett wanted? I have no idea if Jett ever wanted to come to Nebraska.
It doesn't appear that way.
Or if Nebraska ever showed any interest, which it doesn't appear that way either.
It doesn't appear that way. It appears that the Thammallas are extremely happy with how this is going.
Yeah, their son's going to play quarterback at Alabama. I'd be happy too.
Well, and it's
Kalen DeBoer has a history with quarterbacks. Looking like that's what are we talking about?
So this was kind of an innocuous deal. I don't know who he did the interview with. It might have been our guys at NEB Preps. I'm not for sure. But about a year and a half ago, Jett was talking about his recruitment. And you're a big self-awareness guy, right? He himself talked about how he understood how his recruiting was going because he was continuing to evolve as a quarterback.
Yeah.
Like he himself knew that.
Yeah.
Ask his head coach, his current head coach. Had a fantastic brief conversation with him yesterday about development. Like they're well aware. Like we're just grasping, and it's not that linear. It doesn't mean anything for it doesn't mean anything for anybody else with the butterfly effect, except for Dayton has decommitted. Like we don't have enough information to have such strong opinions.
Which is why I'm kind of nailing in on the Dayton part of this, because I don't think if you're genuinely that upset about Dayton and his profile as an athlete and a quarterback not coming to Nebraska, that's the part I don't totally get.
It's got to play ball, man.
All right, let's take a quick break here. We're going to talk to Mitch Sherman from The Athletic here in just a couple minutes. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.
As far as what's going on, meaning like the coaching change, you guys have. I would say that it's really no different than any other scenario. Yes, I'm from there, but like I've also coached at a lot of places, so the experience to go back there and coach there is awesome. And to be around some family and friends, and I even have some friends of mine I grew up with that played at Penn State that still live up there, so I'll see them. But as far as what's going on with them and their program, we're so locked in on all the things that go on with our program and how we're trying to make sure we're playing as well as we can on defense on a day-to-day and week-to-week basis. But I'm sure things will work out. In 2013, I remember it was a close game. I think we lost, meaning we as not Nebraska, but the team I was coaching. But not a whole lot of memories about that in terms of, I remember then coming here the next year, I believe, or maybe it was the year before, I'm not sure, maybe it was 2012. Both of those games were tight games, and there was a play in the end zone, I think, here that I remember that because I remember that I think they got the call wrong. But, yeah, it should have been a touchdown, and we should have won that game. But anyway.
At Centris Federal Credit Union, we understand that the journey of building your own business typically starts with modest beginnings. With a little help from our team of experts and small business loan offerings, you can take your vision and transform it into a more concrete reality. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Yeah, it's definitely different to play them in the first round. I think we've been the 1 and 2 seed I think every year I've been here at Creighton. So again, kudos to Xavier. They've had just an incredible season and have stayed really clean. It's where they bookended their regular season with losses, 1 to us and 1 to Marquette, and just played great volleyball in between. And so it's awesome. So we get to play Marquette round 1. It'll be fun. It's always a great match. It's always a really hard place to play at. They have a great student section. They get their athletes to come out and make things tough for sure. Yeah, but it's what our league does, and you can't host 2 years in a row. So even though we won last year, we don't host this year, but we'll host again next year. So it just kind of is what it is, but it'll prepare us for tough matches ahead. Again, we hope to be playing long into December, which means we're gonna have to go on the road somewhere tough and figure out a way to win. So this will be a great test for that.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. What's up, DB? How you doing? You doing okay?
What are we playing?
You mean the music?
Yeah, like what is going on?
We don't have our usual music, okay? We're doing our best.
Hey, you might just have to hum or something.
The chat's been saying it does look a little like an insane asylum in there, and yeah, I think you guys may be trapped. We're gonna leave you in there with our good tunes.
Everybody is so judgmental too. It's like, do you guys do you know the moccasin? What can I say? Moccasin analogy?
I think
like the whole mile in a shoe thing. Like everybody's got like such strong opinions. You guys should change roles with all these hot takes and see how you guys do. My man John, he's like Damon. He sounds like my mom because he called me by my first name, which no one does. Damon, stand still. I'm getting motion sickness watching you. I'm sorry, John.
The insane asylum take doesn't really help when Damon just keeps pacing back and forth.
The swaying,
what do you guys so
the swaying does lend credence to it.
What are my alternatives? This is
take a seat.
Get me a new chair.
That's true. These chairs are rough. I like these chairs.
Get on all
Can we get
fours
to our
and give
guest
me your
Mitch
back.
Sherman here?
I'll sit down.
Yeah, let's get to our guest, Mitch Sherman from The Athletic. Mitch, what's going on?
Mitch is like, these dudes are crazy.
I don't know. Where are you guys at?
Headquarters. We're like at the palatial estate known as Hurrdat headquarters.
Okay. They have is that a padded room you're in, or what's going on?
I need one. So should I tell him?
Yeah.
So about 60 seconds ago, Mitch, I touched these. I have never touched these walls before, even though I've been in here 1,000 times.
All right.
Just to see if they were soft. They are not.
Go touch the walls, Damon.
So they are not padded, but I was going to throw myself into it if it was, and it would have ended up hurting me. So no, it is not padded. It just looks very space shuttle-y.
Yeah. Well, good to see you guys.
Well, I'd like to be where you are because you apparently have glasses and bottles and a tap, and I don't care what time it is.
There's not a tap. I wish there was a tap. There's not a tap, but
no.
I'm just in my basement. It's not getting used for the purposes that it was built right now.
Is it a time thing? Is it enough available friends thing? Is it your neighborhood has evolved thing? Like what's happened?
Well, it'll get used at sometimes for that, just not at 9 in the morning.
Oh, so you're fine.
I'm fine. Yeah. Oh, we have not like retired the bar.
Thing, not an opportunity thing.
Yeah, I meant like right now in this moment. I'm using it for different purposes.
I'll tell you what.
To you. But yeah, there's it's an active bar.
And a boy. Attaboy. What time are you leaving? Or are you going?
I'm not going. No. I'm
gonna be
home.
You've been here before, right? It's a little much for you.
I've been to Penn State. I've been to State College several times. I've actually never been to a football game there. But there are a couple stadiums in the Big Ten that I didn't get to because my time at ESPN coincided with the company having writers in those parts of the country, and then in covering Nebraska. I hoped that I was going to go this year. That was my plan, was to go this year. And then the company said, no, let's just save it for the bowl game, and we'll get you to a CFP site and the volleyball Final Four. So I've got travel coming up in December, but I'm sitting out this weekend. I will watch and have observations.
I'll get to Nebraska and PSU in a minute. Is there a game that interests you that you think will give you a barometer leading into this one? Or are you just watching this week of college football like, see what I can glean?
I'm interested in USC Oregon.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Otherwise, I feel like it's the calm before the storm in college football this week. And we're going to really get a lot of answers about everything next weekend. And of course, the weekend after that with championship weekend.
Mitch, do you see USC Oregon as, I think DB and I kind of do, as a title or a playoff eliminator game?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if USC wins, I think Oregon still has a path to the playoff with 2 losses, but it's a little treacherous. So for USC, it's a playoff eliminator.
Okay.
Ready to say, you have to know you need additional context to be able to determine if it's a playoff eliminator for Oregon. It might be, but not necessarily.
Mitch, before we get into the game specifics, is there more likely a path for Notre Dame and Miami to both be in at 10-2, or 2 Big 12 teams to get in?
Yeah, that's one of the main questions coming out of last night with the new rankings. I was kind of given the like the stink eye to the selection committee.
I gotta see what that looks like.
Kind of like that. You're like, oh, what are you saying? Like, you kind of close one eye and say, I'm not following here. Tilt the head. When Juracek, the new chair who just came into the room this week and then got thrown on ESPN to explain the decisions that were made before he got there, and while he was there this week. They should have put Troy Dannon on camera last night, since he's been in the room the whole time, or Ivan Maisel, or somebody who'd been around. I am puzzled by this logic that is taking place with Notre Dame and Miami, and about how they're not ranked close enough to each other to consider the head-to-head, yet one is 9 and the other is 13. That's fairly close. But in the case of Oklahoma and Alabama, they are close enough to each other to consider the head-to-head. I would have wished that they would have said more, well, Oklahoma and Alabama played 3 days ago, and Notre Dame and Miami played 12 weeks ago. So we're ranking these teams based on what we think they are in the moment, because I want to see the playoff with the best teams in the moment. And I still think it's hard to get past the head-to-head. That's a dilemma, as Fred Hoiberg would say, for the committee right there with Notre Dame and Miami. I think I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know the answer to your question. If it's more likely that Notre Dame and Miami both get in, or 2 Big 12 teams, I guess I would say Notre Dame and Miami, because it appears to me that beyond Texas Tech, the resumes of Big 12 teams are fairly flawed. Now, I know BYU's sitting out there with 1 loss. I don't even know if that's going to be enough. Yeah, and a chance to improve their resume. I don't know if 1-loss BYU gets in ahead of 2-loss Notre Dame. I don't think so. And Miami, for the most part, I guess, Miami, ACC's not getting 2 teams in. So Miami needs to find a way into the ACC championship game and win it, right? Like, am I off base there?
So Miami is.
I don't know about that.
I know Miami's path to the ACC championship is not real straight.
I was going to say, yeah, they're almost not. I don't think technically, but they are pretty close to shut out of that game. I mean, it's
all right. So
all right,
two ACC teams. Like
yeah,
I'm not.
I was gonna. I don't know. That's it. I'm not. I don't know. I wouldn't be as definitive as that was you just were.
I don't think two ACC teams are getting in, and if Miami inches up close enough by, who does Miami have the rest of the way?
I'll bring it up here real quick.
I don't know if Miami can do enough in the last couple of weeks to supplant Notre Dame, but if they can bump themselves up to like one or two spots behind the Irish, then based on what Juracek said last night, they're going to move ahead of them. And then you have Notre Dame as the odd man out, which I don't think happens.
So Virginia Tech and Pitt.
So the key question is, it goes back to the original. Do you think Miami and Notre Dame can both get in? Because that's if whatever the supposition is there, I think
that impacts
what your opinion is on everything else going forward.
Well, then you start looking at other things like a 2-loss Oregon. Like if USC beats Oregon, and then you have 2-loss USC, 2-loss Oregon, who are both vying for that third spot in the Big Ten.
What about a fifth SEC? What about a fifth SEC team?
I think Miami.
I mean, Bama could easily be 10-2.
Yeah, I don't. Fifth SEC team would be what? Because you got A&M, Georgia, Ole Miss in for sure,
and then Oklahoma.
And Oklahoma maybe.
Oklahoma is the fourth. Yeah, I think a fifth SEC team could get in ahead of Miami, and it's crazy to say. I think a fifth SEC team could get in ahead of a third Big Ten team if SC wins this week, and then Ohio State knocks Michigan out.
Michigan wins over Ohio State, and that is not.
Then Michigan's in.
Yeah, like so. To your point about the whether which could happen first, if Michigan wins, 4 Big Ten teams can get in pretty easily.
Yeah, then you're definitely knocking out a second ACC team, a second Big 12 team,
or a fifth SEC team.
Yeah.
Which would you rather see, Miami and Notre Dame get in? Just as you personally for, Mitch Sherman, not what you think the committee will do.
I can answer this.
This
is much easier to answer.
This is being a representative of myself.
As being an accurate representative of Mitch Sherman, would you rather see Miami and Notre Dame both get in, a fifth SEC team, 2 ACC teams, or 2 Big 12 teams? Which do you think would be the best scenario for the playoff?
Wow. I would rather see. I would rather see Miami and Notre Dame.
I could go in reverse order
because I think if Miami takes care of Pitt, and I'm assuming that Miami's going to. You said Virginia Tech is next up.
Virginia Tech and then Pitt. Yeah.
Yeah. Pitt's a worthy opponent. And then that's going to give you a baseline for a common foe against Notre Dame as well. I need to see the results of that game. Like if Miami beats Pitt by 3, then I'm sorry. You're going to take a bunch of heat if you're the committee, and I would be very glad that I wasn't a part of that. But I'm not excited about Miami in the field with Notre Dame. If Miami goes 10-2 and finishes the season with a 3-point or a 7-point win against Pitt, like they've got to have some style points in that game. And if they can do that and they're 10-2, then I feel good about putting Miami and Notre Dame in. Like I like the name brand appeal and like what that could potentially lead to with Notre Dame and Miami both making it. I mean, they're both. I think they're both good for the sport, and to me that would make the playoff more interesting than a fifth SEC team or 2 Big 12 teams. So
I think the crazy thing is that we're having this discussion, and it'd be hard not to acknowledge that Miami's the best team in the ACC because I think they are.
Yeah. The ACC is is pulling up the rear overall on the power conferences it's a weird structure this year with the teams that are in play to get to the championship. They're all very mediocre.
Yeah, I mean, they're super flawed. You got what, Virginia and Georgia Tech, I think, are kind of your leading candidates there. Does anybody
Georgia Tech's interesting? I mean, they're gonna be exciting. And hey, if Georgia Tech's got an opportunity for big style points out of conference too. And what would really muck it up from the optics standpoint is if Georgia Tech gets blown out by Georgia, which won't impact their ACC chances at all, and then goes and wins the ACC. Like that's not a great situation for the committee if you're then considering putting a second ACC team in. The ACC is like a big fly in the ointment with the whole playoff this year.
Mitch, I keep saying we're going to get to Nebraska, Penn State, but I have to take advantage of the topical knowledge. With the representation of the Big Ten and Coach Rule talking about bigger fish to fry, and I immediately thought of like pecking order in the Big Ten and the not grandstanding, but where they belong in the national discussion. You think Petitti wants any mulligans in terms of the messages that he's tried to portray as the representative of the Big Ten Conference?
It's hard to know because he's so buttoned up, on a communications level. Like we hear from him in Las Vegas at the beginning of the year, and there's a big, long prepared statement, and then he takes a few questions, but doesn't necessarily say a whole lot. And a lot of the information about the Big Ten comes from leaks and reports that are unsubstantiated and information that's coming from other conferences like this. If they're truly continuing to beat the drum on a playoff that's beyond 16 teams, then I think that's misguided. I don't know what his MO is, because I don't really get. I'm not really getting his messaging at this point. So he probably does. I think most people in his situation, when you're in this kind of a spot where the landscape is continuing to shift in the sport and you're looked at as one of the big movers of opinion and policy, I think you probably would like to have some things back if hindsight is very beneficial, but I don't know what that is. It's hard to get inside Tony Petitti's head. He's one of the more mysterious people, I would say, on a high level leadership place in college sports right now.
I was going to move on to Nebraska.
Go ahead.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right. I didn't know if you had a follow-up. Mitch, let's start with Nebraska and Penn State here. It's been a thing I've been trying to figure out all week. Well, there's been a couple of those, but we'll start with apparently the way Vegas sees this game. I was stunned that Penn State's almost a 10-point favorite. I didn't think you could pick any power conference team in the country, basically, that they would be a 10-point favorite over in this particular instance. I don't know what DB is doing. I think he's proven a point here.
You can't get this info anywhere else, is what DB had said.
Is there let's pretend Vegas is right. What in your mind would be the reasoning that Penn State is a heavy favorite here?
Well, you look at the matchup, I think, on the Penn State offensive side versus Nebraska's defense, and can see pretty clearly that it's strength against weakness, and Penn State has found something. Why Penn State didn't find something earlier this season in the power run game is a little bit beyond me, but it worked last week. It worked to bring them back against Indiana. It worked in a way against Iowa. Like I think it goes. You have to look at this game way beyond 4-6 versus 7-3, and take into account who Penn State has played, what the outcomes are. And then also what the situation is that Nebraska's walking into, and I don't even mean the opponent that it's playing, but like the venue and the fact that it's at night, and Nebraska has not played in front of that kind of hostility this year. And the true freshman quarterback in his second start also factors. I think if Dylan Raiola had stayed healthy, that you wouldn't see the number right there, because he's been in places like that where TJ Lateef has not. So I think all of those things factor in. I was surprised that it started as high as it did, that it was what, 10 to begin, 10 and a half.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have been surprised if I saw 7.5. I think that's more realistic.
So let me ask you something, Mitch. I was talking to a couple of the Penn State guys, and again last night on Big Red Wrap Up, of the factors that you mentioned, because I think they all in some shape affect the line, right? Second start, the night game, whatever. I couldn't help but think, Penn State looks a lot against Michigan State and East Lansing like they did against FIU at State College with Drew Aller. So if that's true, but just humor me, which of those factors that you just talked about you think contributes the most to what we may see on Saturday night?
Well, I didn't watch the Penn State FIU game, so I can base it off what I saw with Penn State against Michigan State last week, which was you're going to have to stop the run if you're playing against Penn State.
Okay.
I think that factor is probably the biggest in setting this number where it's at. It's going to shorten the game, so everything. And I think Nebraska will also want to shorten the game.
Especially since Terry Smith says, "Oh, we're going to run it 40 times."
Yeah,
he said that's
right. I think both teams are going to go in with that mentality. You might see a 3-hour game and it's also November 22nd. So you might see a 3-hour game with no more than 15 passes on each side. Now, Nebraska could get into a situation, or Penn State could get into a situation, but Nebraska's more likely to be that team where it has to throw the ball to come back. But yeah, I think that of the factors that I mentioned and the things that I saw at work for Penn State last week in East Lansing, the number one driver of a spread where it is has to do with the fact that Penn State and the odds makers believe that Penn State's run game is going to be difficult for Nebraska to slow down.
What do you do with the results against common opponents, Mitch? How much does that weigh into the way you look at this game with UCLA, Northwestern, and Michigan State?
Yeah. It's interesting because Penn State had losses, obviously, against UCLA and Northwestern. Nebraska had a different quarterback in all three of those games, so I think that takes some of the emphasis off of looking at common opponents. And I think also,
you mean in regards like the transitive property?
Yeah, it's tough to look at that anyway. It's transitive property doesn't work that well in giving you a real picture of what college football games are going to look like. But I think you also have to take into account where Penn State was at in its season when it played Northwestern and UCLA. And this is not to make an excuse for Penn State. Penn State did not handle the Oregon loss well. And it was evident in that first half against UCLA was just abysmal. And ultimately those two games are what led James Franklin to get fired. So that was a really down time. Like, Penn State's season was on the brink, and credit to them for having not just given up after that point. Terry Smith has rallied them, but they were at the lowest of low when Penn State played Northwestern and UCLA. And you could say that Nebraska also had the opportunity to be at the lowest of low because it's coming off of a game against Minnesota, but Nebraska did a better job of quickly riding the ship. So I don't know that fact, which is great for Nebraska in looking back at the season, I don't know that necessarily factors in this game, because Penn State at this place where it's at right now, a month after that stretch against Northwestern and UCLA, the common opponents that you mentioned, and they both beat Michigan State. I don't know that really factors. Penn State's at a different place right now. on November 22nd than it was in the last 2 games under James Franklin.
Mitch, when you're asking or when you're talking to Coach Rule about going back to Penn State or, Coach Butler or what these guys are saying, are you glad or that they kind of got that out of the way? Did the answers kind of suffice for what you think the emotions might be? Because I was telling Ravi, like, at the end of the day, like, that's the last thing that the players want to hear. So I think it's pretty critical on how the coaches actually answer the questions.
It's very unnerving to not be able to see you when you're talking. But
I need to be more professional, Mitch. Just not today. So I apologize.
Okay. I got you.
I apologize.
Yeah, I think the way that Rule handled it, he came out, commented on Penn State, was transparent in his feelings about how it brings back a lot of memories with family members who are connected to him in part because of their mutual relationship with Penn State. I don't know if I worded that well, but his grandfather had season tickets. His uncle embraced him on the field in Philly after Temple beat Penn State in 2015. That he said that. I think that like filled the need for there to be, all right, this game has some meaning to Matt Rule. And then he said, but I don't want it to be about that. It's not going to be about that at all with the team. And clearly Nebraska has moved on and Matt Rule has moved on from that narrative dominating the airspace, because he's signed a contract with Nebraska and he's at Nebraska in 2026 and moving forward. And then with Butler, it's less significant. He grew up in Pennsylvania, but he was at Penn State. It was a lifetime ago in coaching, more than 10 years ago. So I don't think, he's familiar with it, but I don't think that factors much at all with Butler. It would have had the potential to factor more with Matt Rule, because he's been a part of the Penn State conversation this year, like last month, and it's his alma mater and all of that. But he for the most part put it to rest. And there's enough going on. With this team, and there are enough items on the front burner that as opposed to the Minnesota week, when I will say, and I will, as I look back at this season months from now, I will say that Nebraska was distracted in the lead up to the Minnesota week, and I don't think they're in danger of at all of that being the situation going to Penn State.
All right, on the heels, let me get you out on this, just because as you and I like to talk about publicly and privately, I understand your relationship with the Raiola family and insight. And so I'll ask the question this way: surprised, level of surprised, not surprised at all on the decommitment and or the timing of it?
Yeah. Surprised. That's the first at first blush. And then I think considering it more deeply, and I have not had any conversations with Dayton or with Dominic about this situation. Like right off.
How you use his full government.
Dom. I have not talked to Dom.
I just want to do that, Dom.
Seen him several times this year. We've talked about Dayton. Talked with Yvonne about Dayton on the sideline at the Minnesota game before kickoff, but not at all about this and about the situation at quarterback that he would have been walking into if he came to Nebraska. I think it's not entirely surprising when you look at the QB picture and how it has evolved since Dayton committed 14 months ago. So maybe that's me looking for a reason to justify it and being blind to other issues at play here. But I don't have any reason to believe that there are deeper things happening with the relationship between the Raiola family and Nebraska, and I only bring that up because it's what a lot of people want to say. And maybe that'll prove to be the case, but I don't know that to be the case. I don't necessarily believe that to be the case right now. All I can go off of is what we know about the quarterback situation in Lincoln, and Nebraska's pretty set up with with TJ Lateef as the successor to Dylan Raiola, whenever that might be, and then with Trey Taylor coming in the 2027 class as such a front man in a way that we really haven't seen in a long, long time, if ever, for Nebraska with a QB recruit, in the way that he's taken ownership in building his class and in helping the program. So I think if you're Dayton and you put yourself in Dayton's shoes, you can feel like you're a little bit lost in the middle there, and you have to wonder about your opportunity. So yeah, the timing's not ideal, but he has to do what's best for him, much like Dylan had to do what was best for him. You know, we know that about the way that the Raiolas operate in recruiting. You know, they're going to do what's best for them, and that's how it went 2 years ago. Nebraska was the beneficiary of that, and it's the opposite situation here with Dayton and Nebraska losing a QB commit. So I assume, like, as the days go on, we'll, maybe even the hours, we'll learn a little bit more about it. But right now, I was surprised, and then I think as I step back, I can view it and understand.
That is Mitch Sherman from The Athletic. Mitch, appreciate the time as always, and putting up with, well, mostly DB shenanigans, but I'll lump both of us in there. We'll talk to you later. All right.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, Mitch.
That's Mitch Sherman from The Athletic.
I think shenanigans is a little strong.
I mean, you stood on your head at one point during the interview. I think that's fair.
I was getting a headache.
Standing on the head helps the headaches? Like blood rush or what? I don't. No? Let's take a quick break before we get to Jessica Coody here.
Not gonna get me.
Let's take a quick break. That's DB. I'm Ravi, Lulla. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.
Obviously happy with, how he handled everything. Thought he played, really good first time out, which we expected him to. I mean, there's a lot of confidence, in the coaches with him. We talked about that, and then he went out there and proved it. I think the coolest thing that, him handling going back home was awesome. Okay, now that was his element too. The weather and Southern Cal is kind of his element right there, and he felt good in pregame, and we even kind of kidded around about that, just as far as, the ball was kind of sticky and he was spinning it pretty good, and he played well. From an offense, it was probably our most efficient game. If you just look at all the stuff that matters that we always talk about, I mean, those numbers were pretty good, from yards per play to critical downs to red zone touchdowns, just all that stuff that it takes to win games.
I don't think anybody on our team really cared about the streak set because it's pretty irrelevant for our sport. But I thought we played great on Sunday, and there's a lot of excuses we could give ourselves for being a little flat on Friday, and we still won and ended on a great note, and that's set 4, and then played great on Sunday. So it was a really good trip, and I think everybody was fired up with the way it ended. Yeah, I think we put ourselves in so many tough situations in practice, and we're constantly talking about what we're learning each game, whether we lose an actual set or not. I don't think that has any bearing on if we're going to win a national championship or not. So, of course, we're losing lessons every single game, no matter what the score is. And our team is learning things every day in practice still to this point. And so I think we're in a pretty good spot again.
At Centros Federal Credit Union, we have the tools and resources to help our members fulfill their financial goals, with a focus on building a stronger community for the next generation of leaders. Centros Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centros Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and no, we're not at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We're at HQ. That's just muscle memory. We're joined now by Jessica Coody of the Husker Radio Network. Jess, what's going on?
Wow, we have a set change for me. Whoever made that quick furniture change and that break, I wondered why it was taking so long, but still, that was only like 3 minutes. That's impressive. Kudos. Is that
Yeah, I mean, don't give those yahoos any credit, but of course you did. Yes, it was Austin and Rico being creative.
I know that there's probably been a lot of comments about your movement, but I'm told that's how he is when he's calling games in the booth. I don't see it, but I've seen a few video clips. But I do know that when we were setting up last week in the booth, Ben said we need to make a barricade for Damon so that he doesn't trip over the wires. So I think that's how he is, like in on a game day.
That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you've seen Kyle's little videos or whatever. Like he's a mover.
Coody talks like he talks to the entire booth when he's giving his analysis. Like he's
great
performing with his analysis.
So anywho,
listen, I before we get into anything, I've got a bone to pick with Ravi.
Wait, what did I do? What did I do?
You need to be nicer to Shane.
Oh, I will never. I will never.
Don't make me bro you.
Yeah.
Don't make me bro you.
Here's
Jess,
the problem.
Shane's not here. You don't have to be nice.
You do
don't
not want the bro.
Here's the problem, Jess, is I don't care if you bro me. So your bro has no power over me.
Jess, I do have a question because these guys were making fun of me. So I'm cleaning my screen and it was driving me crazy. And I saw that they had cleaner. So, of course, I was preoccupied for the last 2 hours seeing if this could help clean my computer screen. And Camden and the guys will tell you the same thing at Playfly when we're in the studio. I like my screen clean. So I'm laying on the floor cleaning my screen because I want to make sure that I get it right. Is that any different than me wanting to count blades of grass or anything else? They're making fun of me like it's a bit, but you can attest it's just my personality, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Austin
so we are doing these series of videos, and I don't know if Kyle's has come out yet, but like game day essentials, and like it would take. We would need to buy the extra time on social media platforms to be able to get through DB's game day setup. Like he's got it, like he's got the compartmentalized pill packages that like if anybody needs an aspirin or a Tylenol, oh, you got a headache? What do you want? You want Advil? You want to leave? You want Tylenol? He's got his like shaving kit. He's got his hand sanitizer. He's got gummy bears, he's got cough drops, he's got pens. I mean, it's just and it's all very much lined up very neatly. It's not like it's in a pile like my backpack, but it is very, very meticulous all the time. Yes.
Can I just dispel something real quick about me being a nuisance in the booth? How much of it has to do with KC's setup, though? Because it's pretty elaborate.
No, Greg said you moved around too.
He's surrounded. Have you ever seen Signs with Mel Gibson? It's like with the aliens. So he has this. His son like sets up water everywhere. It's because the aliens don't like water, so he thinks it's like protection. I kind of think that's how KC keeps me away from him.
That barricade of water bottles.
He has like 74 water bottles, and they're everywhere. I think it's so he can like fence himself in.
I gave him a hard time about that the other night. And I said, you get like 12 water bottles and you don't drink 2 of them. And he's like, no, I usually don't. But you never know. There might come a time that I need 12 water bottles.
It's like he opens one, takes a drink, he opens another. It's like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
So that's the real question is why doesn't he finish a water bottle? That's where I'm getting concerned.
I don't know. I'm not up there. So that would be a Courtney, Ben, or Damon question. Because I can't,
and I contribute too, so don't let me act like I don't. Like I go to get him waters just to make sure he's cool. I couldn't. Everybody loved the setup at Minnesota, and all KC could think of was like, how do they not have bottled waters?
We talked to Ben earlier this week. We didn't get any answers. We got distracted. We got.
Ben was on a roll. He was on. Well, he and Ravi were going back and forth on this whole talent versus record thing, traveling to Penn State. Are you surprised at the sentiment, kind of the fear? I don't know if it's fear factor, but the lack of confidence going into State College.
What do you mean by like the spread?
Yeah.
No, because I think there's a love fest for Indiana, and to see what Penn State did to Indiana, I think people are giving them a lot of credit for that.
That might make too much sense. That's not. I didn't expect that answer to suffice so quickly.
But I think yes, TJ looked really good in his first start, but he's the backup true freshman quarterback going into the first hostile environment. Let's face it, like we've talked, Kyle and I talked about this week. I mean, Maryland was dominated by Husker fans. UCLA was dominated by Husker fans. So outside of Minnesota, they haven't really been, and this is going to be way, way more hostile, I think, than Minnesota was. So I think the hostile environment, Penn State's is still very physical, and they run the football, and as we've heard all week, that that's been Nebraska's bugaboo, is stopping the run. So I think there's multiple factors, but I just think people are giving them a lot of credit with what they did to Indiana.
So it's interesting because we always play this game amongst the radio crew where, guess the fandom and like how much of a red out it will be. This will probably be the first true road game, but the sense from the Penn State fans and the ticket availability, not only will the students be out because they're on break, but tickets are readily available. Do you have an expectation level for what State College should be versus its lore?
Yeah, I think probably I'm going to walk away disappointed. But that being said, it's still just compared to what they've played in, it's still going to be more hostile than where they've been, just because it's basically been home games when they've been on the road, And so that's kind of, is it going to be what it would be if Penn State was in a different situation if they were where we thought they were going to be when we entered the season? Would it have a different kind of lore going into it? But yeah, I mean, I think it's probably not going to live up to because this is my first time going. I've never been there. So it was one of the ones when I took this job, I was really excited to get to go. So it's kind of disappointing that it's probably not going to be to its fullest, but it's still going to be, I think it's a whiteout at night, home game. I mean, it's senior night. I still think it's still going to be more of a hostile environment than what this team has been in, especially Maryland and UCLA.
Yeah, I'm looking at the SeatGeek map right now, and I'm seeing $7. You can get 6 tickets together, like sitting next to each other. Like I'm very interested to see what this atmosphere ends up looking like, Jess, because I do think people are going to end up disappointed by the kind of the grandeur of it all, but I just really don't know what to expect in terms of hostility, right? Because if you can get
still a really large stadium.
True. That's true.
You know what? Maybe I clearly we don't know yet, but it may be a little Michigan-y Remember at Michigan, the no banners, it's kind of built up. It's huge, but it wasn't like super loud. Like maybe that.
I was very underwhelmed by Michigan.
I was shocked.
Mhm.
I was shocked. No, I mean, it was poor weather and there was a lot of factors up there, but I was a little underwhelmed as well.
I mean, we'll see how it fills in.
I won the national championship 10 years.
It's Wednesday, so but I still think there's a lot of football fans up there that are going to want to watch that game that will probably show up last minute. And I don't know. I'll be interested to see how many Husker fans are there too, because obviously they travel well everywhere else. I'd never want to doubt them, but it's one of the more tougher places to travel. So I don't know. We'll see.
How much value do you put? You brought up TJ, and that's a fair point with the true freshman QB. How much value do you put in Penn State playing with Grunkmeyer, their backup QB, who hasn't necessarily lit the world on fire? It seems like maybe they found a game plan they can win with against Michigan State, but it seems like we're talking a lot about, not you personally, but just the media and fans talking a lot about TJ Lateef and him being the backup quarterback, but not nearly as much about Grunkmeyer and Penn State's situation.
Well, it's TJ's second start. So I think, and again, just it's just the I think maybe more so the matchup of when you look at what Penn State does do well offensively, and they are going to run it. And we've heard it all week. We heard Coach Butler get up there and talk about it. He challenged the team about it, and it has been an issue with this team. And so I think it's a lot of factors, and not so much like, oh, it's the work. Because I think TJ is going to go up there and play fine. I have all the confidence in the world being what I saw at UCLA, not just with TJ, but with how the guys rallied around them. I think the way the offensive line continues to play better. And, I think you saw a team really rally around TJ. And I think they really fed off of, hey, I did my job. And then that led to a pretty complete total team offensive performance, And so to see how they were on the sideline and how fired up they were, being that they had to come together in a situation where it wasn't what they expected, but they had to find a way to do that. And there was a lot of different guys that did their jobs that led to a lot of success. And so I have when I talk about when people have some doubts, I think it's outside. I think TJ is going to be just fine. And I think the offense is going to be just fine. I know it's a different kind of caliber matchup, but I just think another week getting to prepare, having the time to take those 1 reps, to get the feel with the wide receivers, for Dana Holgorsen to game plan, coming off the bye week. And I think he's probably got a lot of confidence along with the other guys around him that I actually am not as worried. I think from an outside perspective, you asked me what the outside perspective was. That's what I think maybe there's one of the factors is that you got a second start from a true freshman quarterback.
Who are you going to pick? What did you decide for the player preview this week?
Is it did somebody already take Emmett?
No, not our picks, your actual sit down.
Oh, I talked to Rocco Spindler yesterday.
Oh, okay. What minute mark did we get to?
I think 17.
Does he talk as intense as he plays?
He there's a couple of, he's one of those guys that you on the field, very intense and mean, but off the field, very, very nice. He has that switch, like a lot of the great offensive linemen do. You want to get a guy to melt, Rocco Spindler, ask him about his dog, Polly.
Oh, so you two are the same person.
Yeah. Originally, I had this grand scheme that I wanted to do that interview with us, and our dogs playing, a dog play date.
Okay.
And it didn't end up working out because he broke his hand and had surgery, and the timing of all of it didn't work out. But yeah, no, he's a big dog dad.
What kind of dog is Polly?
He's an English bulldog.
Ooh. Oh, no, I could vibe with that.
Yeah.
Poor Sunny, though. She'd be distraught.
She's pretty fast. He'd have a hard time catching her. She's an athlete,
English bulldogs famously not known for their stamina,
or a joke.
She's growling in the background too. She didn't like that comment.
Sorry, Sonny. Let me change gears for a sec, because there's a lot of momentum for both programs, but it's still early in the season for kind of the heightened excitement. If you had to pick now, men's or women's basketball, who's most going to turn out to be like the buzz that they're currently getting?
I think they're both going to. I really do.
Diplomat.
I'll say they're both so fun to watch, and I think they're both they're a little similar in the fact that they can really cause some matchup problems for people, and they can shoot it out of the gym. I think what's fun about the women and they are so connected so early. Like usually you don't see that out of a team this early, but the way that the season unfolded last year, and to get that core back that had to play a lot of minutes together, I think you can tell that that's a group that, even though you got freshmen and sophomores, or bunch of sophomores out there with Britt and Amaya and some players that had to step into some roles last year, you can tell they are very comfortable and connected playing with each other. They don't care who scores, and it's just a very unselfish group. And I think that bodes well for a team that can continue to win. I think their size might be a problem. We'll see. Again, on the flip side of that, they're going to be tough to guard because Jess Petrie, Amaya Hargrove, even Petra Bozon can all step out and knock down the three, a lot like what we see from the Nebraska men, that just, really spaces the floor and allows for a guard like Britt Prince to go to work. So I think it has the makings to be a group that can, really win a bunch of games. And they are fun to watch.
Are you surprised at Kendeigh Williams' ability to this early get out and guard?
No. That's her. That's what she does. She's a bulldog. So I'm not surprised at all. And Coach Williams emphasizes that as much as we want to talk about what they do offensively.
That's the transition. Yeah.
She is like, if you ask her about it, it is defense. Like the first comments always are about defense. Defense leads to offense. So, and then for the men, I think they obviously got a lot of weapons too, and they've got to be hitting from the outside to win some of these games against some of the higher caliber opponents, but they can score it too. And they've got a lot of different pieces. And I think it's going to be one of those nights. I was even asking Coach Hoiberg the other night, there's a lot of different nights. I think you're going to see a different leading scorer. But then what's crazy is if you go through the stat sheet, I think there might be a different leading assist person every single game so far this season. They pass the ball really well. They move it. And that's you have these conversations with Coach Hoiberg in the summer and leading up to it. And then you're like, then you see it play out and you're like, oh, that guy's a genius, but he's talked about if we don't move the ball, if we don't, knock down shots, if we're not getting out and playing with pace, we're going to struggle. And so that's what you've seen already here in the early goings. But when they do what they're supposed to do, they're a really tough team. But I think both teams are going to be, it's going to be a fun year in PBA. I really do think for both teams. And we'll see. I do think it's going to hinge for both of them to be able to knock down shots from the outside. But when they're going to be a tough team. Both of them tough teams to beat.
Jess, I want to pivot real quick to wrestling. They just had a little bit of a rough ending to the national duels that they were at, going up against obviously really talented Ohio State and Oklahoma State squads. Did get a nice win against Michigan. How do you think coming out of that and then going into journeyman duels in a couple weeks, where do you think the headspace is at for a Nebraska wrestling team?
I think they realize it's a really long season. They're in for the long game. They're not about playing, or being their best right now in November. I still think just have my conversations that I had with Coach Manning in the beginning of the season before the season started. It sounds like they might, continue to tweak the lineup a little bit at a couple different spots, figure out what guys are going to give them their best options. So I don't worry at all about this kind of performance this early on. I think they'll learn from it. I think it'll probably fuel them, but I don't think they realize they don't want to be peaking right now. So you want to go into that thing, you want to win everything, but it's also not about all of that right now. There's a lot that I think they're working through and working out and figuring out what lineup's going to work best. And so I think it's just they're very, very talented. There's no doubt about it. And I think that's a program I'm not worried about figuring out working through a kind of a tough outing in the early goings of a season.
Are you going with the guys right when we get there? I can't believe security opens at 11. I was like, ugh. But anyway, to set up for at the stadium.
Yeah.
Okay, so can I just, and you're gonna say, well, why don't you come and then you can do it? But since you control the driving in the morning, can you see how close we can actually get to the stadium ahead of time?
I don't dictate that.
I think you can. I think you just like to see me miserable walking 18
Probably.
miles.
I like to get my steps in too,
The heck with practicality. I mean, let's get the steps.
Yeah, you just gotta tell the Uber driver, like, hey, look, we're up there actually. Let's
I would, but I don't know if he would have understood what I was saying. I'm sorry. Like, I don't think, because he was told where to go and he turned around. So I wasn't gonna argue, and cause an issue. Like,
yeah, I mean, you don't want to end up in like a Scotty Scheffler situation.
Oh, okay,
that would be awkward.
Jess, I have one last question. It's very, very important. Did you or your mom pick the color of your Christmas tree decorations?
My apartment is blue accentuated, so it's blue Christmas.
Okay.
Do you change?
I knew there was some Jessica reason.
My mom did. My mom absolutely did. That's her thing. That's what she does. I let her do it. I like to look at it. It's pretty.
Do you change decoration themes every year, or is it always blue?
So one of the things, no, I just leave it blue for now. I mean, but one of the things I do is I started doing is getting like an ornament when I travel places, which has been kind of fun. And so like last year when we went to New York, which this is a fun story too. We went to dinner when we got there with the bowl trip, and I was asking Coach Rule, about what Broadway play, because my mom really wanted to see Lion King. And then, but the only tickets were available like the Friday night before, and we had to be on the bus by like 4:45 a.m. So I was like, gosh, I do not want to go to a 9:00 show and then have to turn around and get my suitcase loaded and get on I would just have not slept. So I asked him, I'm like, Aladdin or Lion King? And he said, both are elite. So I felt okay with making the decision to go to Aladdin. And it was great. And my mom loved it because, again, that was the thing that she wanted to do. So I got an ornament from Aladdin that's hanging on my tree. I got a couple of things like, memorable stuff like that.
Is it the Gilbert Godfrey character? What character is it? What character?
What ornament did you get from Aladdin?
Oh, it just looks like it's like a decorative. You want me to go grab it real quick? I'll grab it.
How do you not know?
This was, you know what Coach Rule would have said about about going to the late show in the early morning. You'd be like, do hard things. Do I love going to a 9:00 show and get back at midnight and then going on the bus at 4:45 in the morning?
Okay, I can see it now. So it's not really a character; it's just a theme ball.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I like it. It's a pretty ornament. What do you want from me?
Nothing.
And it goes with the blue theme. And again, it's I think about that now. So.
All right, I will hopefully not have to. And did we do a weather check? What are we doing for the weather? Like,
I
what's
think
the
it's
year?
gonna be like 46 or 34.
Wait,
that's a little bit of a gap.
You mean the low?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And then, but Kyle one time told me that it might rain. I don't know. I don't know. That was something that Greg always did, that somebody needs to take on that responsibility of making sure we all know what the weather is and what to pack.
I think we should delegate it to Ben, because that doesn't seem like Kyle's style.
No, because he just wears what he wears. And
I feel like Ben's going to be like, hey, you're all adults. Look at the weather.
Yes.
Yeah, that's probably all right.
So I guess it's you, Jess.
Josh might do it for us.
Yeah, and he's super smart too.
Yeah.
All right.
He'd probably take that on. We can maybe ask Josh.
Engineer sending out a group text that's back not where we are, giving us the current weather forecast. Sounds practical.
It'll be fine. All right, Jess.
All right, Jess. Don't work too hard between now and then.
All right. See you guys. Bye, Shane and Austin.
Oh, God.
Oh, no, Rico? Wow.
Oh,
Rico,
no.
I didn't know Rico was there. I didn't hear Rico's voice. Bye, Rico. Nicely done with the furniture. Good job, guys.
Thank you. Me and Austin work really hard. We did it specifically for you, Jess, just so you know.
I appreciate it. It's more aesthetically pleasing for sure.
I'll ask you at the next women's basketball game how you want this setup to be.
Perfect.
Hey, we'll make sure if you want blue and white lights, we can do that to match your Christmas tree. As
Oh,
we
that'd be
definitely can.
amazing.
Yeah, we could have, but Damon didn't let us
Can
know.
you put it around my box next time, like my screen box here?
Oh yeah, we could add some Christmas ornaments.
No,
to
yeah,
that.
I'll see what I can do.
We'll make that work. Any
go.
requests you have, Jessica, you are our number one guest.
Yep, you just send it to us and we'll get it done.
Thank you guys. You're the best. Bye, guys.
Yeah, that's Jessica Coody, Husker Radio Network. Yeah, we work with a bunch of fools.
Well, apparently she's nice to everyone, but me and Ben.
Well, it's not nice to me either. She was chastising me about Shane. She doesn't even understand what goes on there.
You literally tweeted it was Shane's fault this morning.
Yeah, that was a joke.
Not everything is a joke, Ravi.
You guys literally rearranged the studio as a bit. You're no one to tell me not everything is a joke.
I'm gonna say this one last time. She is kind of like she's anti-bully.
Yeah.
So she's gonna ride with whoever needs defending.
I
Which
don't-
is
I don't
why
bully
she
Shane.
doesn't like me.
I don't bully
And
Shane.
She tolerates Ben. She's going to protect Casey.
No, off air, I'm very kind to Shane. Just ask him.
That's the best kind of friend. Yeah.
Just ask him.
Just ask him. Go ahead.
Listen, I'm nice to
You
these
got
guys
me-
off the air too.
You got me sitting in this little kid chair. I'd rather stand on my head.
You wanted to stand up so bad.
I did. It was driving me crazy. I feel like I feel like you guys put me in a pretend seatbelt.
Well, the NDOT Highway Safety Office
Just
lock
seatbelt
it
in.
Can I just tell you the worst thing about my new vehicle that I'm still figuring out is
You have to sit
apparently
the whole time.
the ding gets louder the longer you leave your seatbelt unfastened.
Just fasten your seatbelt, DB. It's good.
I don't
for
think
you.
that's something that you should say out loud.
Well, sometimes like I pull out
how
of
loud
my
does it get?
I pull out of my driveway
Pull
and I
out.
haven't done it yet. And then by the time I get to the stop sign, which is literally 100 feet, it's like it's unbearable.
Well, I mean, you should probably have it fastened before you. Listen, Micah told you put the seatbelt on.
Lock it in.
I just looked up the weather for Happy Valley. It says it's gonna rain.
Is it really?
No, I have no idea. I just wanted to do that.
It's raining sideways. Didn't you have an umbrella?
All right.
You good? I could listen. Everybody, a lot of people. We didn't have a lot of time today. We're cut a little short. A lot of people said some things that like made me feel kind of a certain way, and I really didn't have a chance to get out my chest. So tomorrow might be interesting.
Were you in your feels?
Yeah, like I don't
Go touch walls like I did.
like these aren't padded. These hurt. They
I have
got
to
points.
apologize to Mitch. It's really a curtain. I see you on the screen. I don't even know what I was doing. I think.
Oh, you were staring at the cleaner.
Well, they were doing the binocular thing, so I had to give my binocular.
Yeah, I just
Is that a thing?
what?
Like
Yes, 100%.
What?
they do that thing.
Yeah, oh, they do that all the time. I
Is
was
it
just,
because I had the binoculars on?
No, it's definitely for something else.
We're big fans of binoculars.
This dude
We're bird watchers.
is
Why do you ask?
a-
I saw a show. I watched a show the other day. You know what they called binoculars?
What's that?
He goes, "Hey, pass me the Knox."
That's sick.
I'm gonna start saying that to you. I'm gonna tweet that at you.
I have some that haven't even come out of the box yet that I'm going to practice with.
I was gonna say those were the old ones.
I unboxed them and they had batteries, and I was like, I closed the box immediately. I was like,
There's too much technology.
above my pay grade.
Damon, you should do an unboxing of your binoculars on the road and like record it. Just make it a whole thing.
No, because Ben will have a field day.
You
That's
should do it.
exactly why.
I
should do
do
it here on the show
binoculars
tomorrow.
come with batteries?
This is new. This is news to me. I didn't know.
I saw double A's tightly wrapped, and I was like, I'll maybe get to this later.
Maybe they auto adjust.
That's what I was about to say.
That'd be cool.
Oh, that would be cool. How do they know what your eyes are seeing?
Don't worry
How
about it.
does my car know when I'm not looking?
Science.
Cameras.
Okay,
AI.
been with these two too long.
You get to stick around even longer.
I can do this every day. I have to get like it's the Snickers commercial.
Need to get away.
Yeah.
No, that's Southwest. I think.
Or are you
Well,
hungry?
well, whatever.
Snickers
Because
is Are You Hungry?
It's
Just staying a Holiday Inn Express last night.
Do you need some? You need some goldfish? I got some
No,
crackers
I'm
for you.
50, not 6.
I
So I
like-
need some goldfish.
Goldfish are good, man. I
Was
like
this
goldfish.
nap time?
Might be. I'm. You know.
so sweepy.
I'm just saying. Like I thought Mitch was very dismissive about my common opponents.
Oh yeah, he wasn't having it.
Listen, I'm just saying. One common opponent I get. 3, it says something.
Mitch wasn't having it.
Also, TJ did play against one of those. I'm just saying. UCLA.
Why are you pouting?
Oh, tomorrow.
Ethan Grunkmeyer's good, and he's not.
Tomorrow should be very interesting. I feel Ravi's sitting on a lot of emotion.
Yeah.
Robbie's
acting like my son when I tell him to wear shorts in 20-degree weather.
Why are you telling your kid
not to wear shorts, to wear pants?
I was like, why are you
he wants to wear
shorts in 20-degree weather? That seems like terrible.
He wants to wear shorts. He gets mad. Yeah, it's like you.
Let him do what he wants.
Then it'll turn out like you, Ravi. We don't need more of you running around.
That's
hard pass.
That's rude. I think you'd be lucky to have more of me running around.
So we aren't going to get bet music.
Oh, I don't.
No, you're not.
Can you play that elevator kind of slow dance music again?
Yeah, we
that
can
was kind of weird.
Sorry.
In the meantime, stuff your savings with Central Federal Credit Union. From savings accounts and money markets to the unique certificate and savings account bundle. Centris has all the trimmings for a hearty financial piece. Check it out online, centrisfcu.org. Terms and conditions apply. Federally insured by NCUA. And go check them out. Check out our friends. Our friends are not in that booth today. Apparently, they're just being mean to me. I don't like it. They're being mean to me. Are you listening? They said I was pouting. That's rude.
Are you listening to this?
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. I think that was a gong. Which, never mind. What is that? What are we doing? Are you just playing all? Are you just playing all the instrumentals you have? Is that what's happening right now?
All I know is you just.
It's gonna rain. Hey, Avery, what's up?
She's probably like,
I don't know what's happening, man. I think the show, just the show.
We'll be back.
Wow,
Tomorrow.
we'll be back tomorrow.
A little morbid.
Yeah, you said yours off air. I said mine on. What's the difference?
Good point.
We'll be back tomorrow. We might be at the bar. We might be here. I have no idea, but we'll be right there on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you're waiting for the podcast, they will get up shortly due to the technical issues. We had a little delay there, but Austin will get those up whenever he gets a chance. So that's it. That's the show for today. That's DB. I'm Ravi. We'll be back tomorrow for Hurrdat Sports Live.